pause right here, like anywhere. You can see like we've made a line
Okay, maybe
across
not right here,
from
Solomon.
we made a line like across from our Ramatra, where our Ramatra's top left, and now our Tracer's holding the right, and our Sojourn's holding main. So this is like really good Overwatch, right? This is what we
Yeah.
didn't do like earlier. We're making it really hard for them to walk.
This is something I don't agree with at all, to be honest. I think Hanzo, as a European, it's just a dead hero. We'll see in a second here, by the way. We invest speed into this fight. They don't. So we know that they have beat advantage. So you'll see us make a clutch play in a second. And
How do you guys approach stuff like that? Like, you just play fast on the Lucio, or
yeah.
something like that?
We said they have beat advantage. Okay, we need a miracle play before the point unlocks. So
Yeah.
I go behind them, and me and Quartz just look for a one shot together. That's usually what our miracle play looks like, you know. Me and Quartz look to set up.
I like that call out.
Welcome to Plat Chat Overwatch for a special edition episode following the Stage 3 playoffs. We have winners in either region. Casores, head coach of Liquid here. And also player coach, Seicoe. Like, what's the deal, Seicoe? What's the role? Are you telling everybody what's happening? Or are you just, is it a team vibe?
I'm everything. I'm support in South League, I'm coach in EWC, and I'm player at this stage. So just everything.
Are you the big brain behind Twisted Minds?
No, we're all the brains of Twisted Minds, all the players.
Okay. Well, there we go. That's perfect. Now we got that ironed out. And then, of course, we have Raelyni's back on Plat Chat. So, Ray, do you kind of like want to explain why this episode is special and what we're going to do?
Yeah, so I was actually, we were talking after the last time I was on about how I sort of like approached like showing or watching pro play with some of my players, and I was saying like, oh, I really like just like going through and like clipping concepts to like show players, and then together we were like, oh, okay, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could actually like talk to like the teams that were actually playing about what we saw and like get their feedback. So that was sort of like the basis of this like not VOD review. Definitely
This
not
not VOD review.
Yeah.
This is not a VOD review, but we're gonna reviewing the VODs.
Yes.
And my job and Ray's job is just to get as much knowledge out of Casores and Seicoe as humanly possible. Inside 2 hours, by the way, 1 hour per match. Impossible challenge, never going to happen, but we're going to do our best. And this is very much a test episode, and we'll kind of see where it goes. And Solomon will help us out, our producer, of course, on this journey. So let's just get into it, and we'll kind of see where we end up here. So Casores, obviously beating SSG in the grand finals. I want to start kind of like big picture, just going into this matchup. What were you thinking of with your previous matchups against SSG? And what was your ban strategy going into this match? How did you want the match to kind of like unfold?
Well, I wanted to unfold as a 4-0, of course, but
Well,
we didn't get that. No, SSG played incredible, but I think what we were looking to do is get favorable matchups into D.Va. I think when the meta really started out, there was a ton of Zarya, and we were like most scared of the Zarya like 3 weeks ago before the grand finals. But as we kept playing and we kept improving, actually we started beating the Zarya really consistently with several comps. So all we were really scared of was the Falcons, and I guess also then SSG composition with the D.Va cast. I feel like D.Va in general, it's probably the strongest off tank in the meta, and in the finals, most of what we were scared of against SSG. So our ban strategy going in was how can we ban away parts of that D.Va strategy? How can we make them have like awkward DPS combos, or ban away some supports? I think SSG is a little more limited than other team is, where I think they're really good at like the Lucio Kiri D.Va, but they can't play like the Wuyang Kiriko D.Va that I think, for example, Seicoe and EU like took to the next level. So we were able to really ban around their limited strength on D.Va and playing more a variety of our own comps. Now this D.Va comp gave us a lot of problems. Like as you could see, we started off running a lot of Ana, and then as the series went on and on, they were shutting down Ana really good with their D.Va and Tracer. Like Hawk and Sugarfree did amazing with that. So we had to keep finding new solutions to that problem, and we even made some like first time adjustments that we hadn't done much in scrims, but we felt like the match needed it, and we were really adaptable. So you know, like 2 stages ago, we'd go into like an entire series with just a set ban plan. But I think me and Danny recently we've only been planning out like the first like 1 or 2 maps, and then we're just constantly DMing each other about like, oh, this is our problem right now, or we need to change our plan, or we need to do this different from scrim and adjust.
Do you find that like easy to like scout like during the actual game? Like figuring out like what's the real issue like in a map? Like we lost this because maybe somebody's not doing their role correctly, or maybe it's a draft issue or something like that.
Oh, it's always really hard because you can only see the POV even when you're a
Exactly.
coach. You don't get the
Yeah.
overhead. So it's a good question. I think when I've recently been coaching, I've just been watching POVs and doing more one-on-ones, and I
Mm,
feel like I usually watch either the tank or the flex support, and you can get
yeah.
like a good feel of what's going on and who is pressuring us. Because if your flex support's getting pressured a lot, maybe you need to go Kiriko, or if your tank is not able to find push windows, okay, maybe we should play other characters. So there's it's not easy to see like every problem that's going on, but I think as long as you find like 1 or 2 things and like can like improve on that during the match, or just avoid that problem altogether because it's not going right on match day, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Mm.
Seicoe, would you say you employ bans kind of like similarly after this phase where it's like at first maybe you wanted to plan it out a lot more, and now like after a couple of maps, obviously you have a different relationship with like Qadsiah, I can imagine, but like do you feel like you know them too well what you want to achieve, or do you just kind of like do it a bit on the fly depending on how the series is going?
Well, during the group stage, I mean, as I've mentioned a couple times before, Twisted, like us as a team, we weren't really taking it too seriously. We were more laid back, so we didn't plan ahead, like what maps we want to pick or what bands we want to do at all. Like we just did everything on the fly. And I mean, as you can see, I mean, it worked out all right. We took the top teams to map 5 or last fight, but obviously we want to win. So during playoffs, we decided to actually, because it matters more, we decided to plan ahead, talk about what bans we want to do. We always make like a sheet for important games, like if they ban this, we ban this. And this is what we did for playoffs. This is what we did for EWC. And whenever we actually try to plan ahead what's gonna happen, we end up doing pretty good, as you guys can see.
Right. Let's get into some gameplay, I think. We'll try to run through as much gameplay as possible within the next 2 hours. So we're kicking off with North America here. And I kind of want to start the very first round, just because I think we get a pretty good feel already for like the compositions we're seeing out of SSG. So Solomon, I apologize, the time's up is wrong, but you can just go to like the very first round on Ilios here. So obviously Casores, we know you love Ilios. You've loved Ilios for like the past 2 years, especially with Vega and RuPaul. So in this matchup, you are actually rolling out on this round with Vega playing the Kiriko instead of the traditional, Brig you might see. So like, what was kind of like the thinking going into playing a double flex support composition here, and the game plan knowing you're gonna face this Diva comp?
So in this case, we actually didn't know we were gonna face the Diva comp because in the previous match they ran the Zarya cast comp against GK, and they completely rolled them on it. I think they did really good with that. So we were half expecting Diva, half expecting Zarya, and we really like this Lucio ban like approach on Ilios, which this is one of the things we had prepared for like a long time. We'd been doing this in scrims for like 4 weeks. Like this was no surprise to SSG. They knew this was coming. We knew this was coming because Diva ban is the strongest ban on Ilios against their comp. It makes you so free. But if we use Diva ban on map 1, it felt really limited. So we were like, we already crippled Diva a little bit by banning the Lucio. You don't have the same flying power to the enemy Ana. You don't have the same like tempo and killing power. So we wanted to save Diva Man going in, and we wanted to kind of make them really stacked so we could take all angles and shoot them, and then play this ball composition. We knew they're probably gonna ban Winston, because it is really strong at Ilios, and play this ball composition and just make our Freya really free, make lots of angles and shoot them. And we kind of got caught off guard because rather than them like staying really still and their diva having to matrix a lot of their team and their cast being under pressure, actually their diva and tracer were just flanking. And they were able to find a lot of angles on our Ana. And as the map goes on, you'll see like we swapped to Brig pretty quickly, which was the plan. Because I think Brig is really weak into Freya, but if they're not playing a Freya, actually like Brig is really good into D.Va still. So our plan was kind of to play this Ana carry into Zarya. They ran out on D.Va, and then we could just swap to the Brig and play that. But as you could see, like in these fights, we're doing really good. But once they get control of point, it actually starts being really really hard for us because our ball comp doesn't really have the killing power. Like we don't have any nano targets. We don't have anybody that can use the Kiriko very well. So we're kind of relying on individual plays most of all. We need to find a sticky or we need to find like a nano Freya and their D.Va isn't matrixing it. So our retake is very tough, but in turn their retake is also very tough. So as we kind of played this map, we start feeling more and more, oh, the Ana isn't really working against this like D.Va Tracer. They're able to minimize the value like too hard. We weren't finding any nades, and even if we did find nades, they Suzu it very quickly. So even though we managed to do what we wanted and we made them all play cage and we took all the angles on the map, we weren't really able to find any kills for a long time. So we ended up as the series went on playing less and less Ana actually. But on Ilios, it's definitely like the best Ana into D.Va map. It's pretty hard to find follow up on going on the Ana. But yeah, that was kind of the thinking that was going on here. We didn't want to use the D.Va ban. We wanted to use the Lucio ban and make them really static and make them feel like they're boxed in.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting because I actually wrote in my notes like, why are they starting on on this comp? Like, I felt like it's definitely doable, but it's like kind of an uphill battle, right? Like, I was like expecting Zarya, and why are we playing Ana? And I even made a note about the retakes because it definitely is like if your Ana doesn't have like that Thanos setup, like it's so easy for them to just like find access, or you have to like slowly open space, and you're like giving percentage the entire time, so it could be a little rough.
Right, but if
Yeah.
you're not playing Diana, then it's like a lot harder to get value at the bow. In hindsight, maybe we could have
Yeah,
played a lot more
for
Kier
sure.
Wuyang even early on. We started playing it more and
Hmm.
more as the series went on. But Wuyang also feels like not easy on this map.
Yeah,
If
yeah, for
it's
sure.
one of the worst Wuyang maps because there's no like long sight line which you can shoot the balls
Yeah, the
through.
angles are kind of ass. Yeah. So-
Seicoe, you played. I don't want to say well, kind of similar compositions to some degree, I suppose. What do you think about Liquid's kind of approach here on well?
Yeah, I mean, they played the comp you should play if you have a main tank, and I think the Lucio ban makes sense as well. Especially since the series before SSG ran out on the Zarya Lucio and they dominated. It's good to take away some of their momentum, get a slow comp going. Also, I agree with saving D.Va ban. It's like for us when we save the Sim ban, we don't want to do it first map, so they have to end up protecting DPS later on in the series. So I agree with them for the most part.
Yeah, and
We're
then we headed over into ruins here instead, and I think Vega kind of like goes back and forth between a few heroes here. You can kind of see that you're trying to figure out this like main support selection, if you will, like throughout the round itself. But I like the point that obviously like they have playing this D.Va Brig carry, like they have a lot of sticking power onto the point, and you're kind of like I don't want to say under a bit of a time limit, but obviously the pressure is on you to find the picks required before they like cap the point and like stick on the objective or like rotate and find a pick onto one of your more like vulnerable kind of heroes. Is that how you're kind of like thinking about it? That like there needs to be some kind of individual play. I know you mentioned that before, Casores.
I feel like this map it's a little different because this map the point is so open. So there's not really like a cast that can like take the side of point and just sit there because the only place you could play with would be like right. So this map our Freya would be really free, even if they ended up on like the cast composition, which they end up here. I think specifically well, it's actually like one of the best off-tech maps of Ilios. And then this map, luckily, our ball can just go behind and be a nuisance and make sure, that they all have to get on the point together or play really split, which then if they're on the point, our Freya and Angle actually have pretty good angles on this map. So
Yeah, you can even see they're like all boxed in on that
Yeah,
like, bottom
yeah.
side. It's so hard.
But they end up making some real hero plays here. And I think Lenny gets like a post-ball kill, etc. And we end up getting picked at some point. But it should feel like hell, where they're either having to play on point or they have to play off point, and then we can just cap it with our comp. So I think Well specifically is also the best off-deck map. And then I think this map, it's a lot harder for them to get to our Ana, and we could shoot a lot stronger. But they played it quite well, where they were just like sitting and waiting again once they kept the point, and just cooldown rotating and getting more time and more time. And this is like where the Winston ban comes in, because you'd really want to be playing like the Ana Winston, and then you get the Nano Winston, and then you farm the Primal, and then you get the main tank team rolling, you know? But here with this comp, you don't really have a finisher so easily. So they were abusing that pretty well, and we actually end up having to clutch this round out pretty hard eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really back and forth, this one, actually. But you do end up clutching it out here. So this is where the it's not a VOD review thing comes in. And I think we'll skip ahead a little bit and go forward to the next round, in fact, which is where you roll out with this Hanzo. And I guess we've seen more Hanzo over time. So why don't you just explain a little bit like why we're seeing more Hanzo and why you chose to roll out with Hanzo on Lighthouse?
We actually really love Freya, but Freya, like, in scrims and even in match, it felt like harder and harder to play against the D.Va. The D.Va can deny the Freya value so heavily. And then specifically, you know, on that Ruins, just the map just now, our Freya got like isolated a couple times, and we weren't able to get value from like the Nano Freya. So into the cast, because the cast can actually get like pretty decent angles on the Freya when she's flying up, we decided to play the Hanzo, and yeah, it ended up working out really good. But this was actually like one of the things we played in scrims, because we'd always face SSG on this map, and they would ban Freya for like a while when we scrimped them here. They would ban the Freya a ton, and every time they'd ban Freya, we were like happy, because then we could play Hanzo. But actually, Hanzo into Freya, it's really bad. Like Hanzo has a terrible matchup into Freya, but since they're on the Cassidy, Hanzo has a really good matchup. So we adapted, and we knew the Hanzo had a good matchup into Cassidy, and played that here. And I think we got like a ton of early picks, because I think maybe SSG is kind of a mental block against Tree's Hanzo. Like whenever we play them, they die like twice the amount to just random picks. So I think Tree is amazing at Hanzo, of course, but I think especially against them, it works really well. So
I think Hanzo's matchup is also pretty good into D.Va. Like, he can like jump away and like shrug her back.
Yeah.
And...
yeah, Hanzo's definitely a lot better into D.Va than the Freya is. But that being said, Ilios is like a really Freya favored map. So you instantly see like we swap Hanzo, and then Chronic swaps Freya here right away.
yeah.
Seicoe, would you consider the Hanzo pick ever at all? Like, what do you think about Hanzo in general? Kind of like, because Hanzo's received a couple of buffs like here and there. Like we'd never see Hanzo before, and then I guess Tree took it out in like stage 2, and now we've seen it even more here in stage 3. So like, how do you kind of like view Hanzo as a viable pick in stage 3?
I mean, this is something I don't agree with at all, to be honest. I think Hanzo, as a European, it's just a dead hero. Like Hanzo into off tanks is just like Hanzo. Like
I'm so happy you said it. I couldn't believe it. You know, like Casores, one of the smartest guys on the street. But yeah, like this is one of those.
It's very dependent on the map now. Like I feel like on Kings, like you can almost definitely like play.
Yeah, at
Hanzo.
one
Of course.
point, there's one point in the game where I think Hanzo might be playable, and that's Kings Row first. But other than that, I think Hanzo's a dead hero. I mean, the only thing I agree with is that the matchup of Hanzo into Cass is more favorable than Freya into Cass. But even that, on a map like Ilios, like Freya is for sure favored. But I mean,
So why do you think SSG struggled so much? It's like they're all just walking this right side, and they have like no angles, so Tree just gets to get like easy headshots on the side.
I think
Yeah.
SSG just like the Hanzo should not be able to play the game against the D.Va and Tracer. So
Like
I'm not
also
sure
this map in particular, it's really main tank favor, because this is kind of like a timer on the D.Va team. Because the D.Va team, if you're not playing like the Wuyang, like Kiriko, like spread out D.Va with the Freya, they're playing more of like a boxed in like Brig Kiriko. So they kind of need to stack more, and then they can either go point which then we just take the whole map and we can shoot them and Ball can touch the point forever, or they need to go cage. So it's kind of lucky that they're playing like this really stacked comp.
Yeah.
But if you play like the different D.Va comp, where you play more of the flanker D.Va with the Freya shooting from long range, then it would be a lot harder.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, but I also think Chronic can just roll out on Freya on that map in particular. I feel like a D.Va ball tracer isn't enough to kill the Freya on that map. So I feel like, especially Freya with the new perk where you regen once you're in there, like so much survivability. So you don't really need the cast on a map like that. It's so hard to make it work. So many high grounds.
Yeah, you can probably just like fly infinitely like towards the coast side, or you can even just fly over cage and it's like
Yeah,
you
but
get a free
that's
angle.
where their comp is really weak, right? Because the break
Yeah.
kind of needs to sit inside. So then if a Freya is alone playing outside, then the ball is just feasting. That's kind of why they instantly swapped on Ruins, because Ruins is also a great Freya map, but they're all playing inside right with their break carry. So how can Freya play the game? It's kind of like their composition problem, where it only really works with like a Cass. It doesn't really work with a Freya against the ball. But if you're playing more of the wide D.Va comp with the Kiri Wuyang, and the Wuyang just plays with the Freya, then the Freya has enough like sustain against the ball.
Okay, so I'll say this a lot throughout this episode, but in the interest of time, Ray, do you wanna move us forward to Rialto?
Sure. Yeah, let's go to Rialto. So I was curious on this map because you guys opted to go Ram on this map for like your first defense. And I had some thoughts like watching it, because a lot of like the win condition from my perspective would just be, Hawk is just gonna ignore infected whenever possible, right? And just like go eat your backline. So I really liked how you guys like sort of played around that win condition. Like there were two really good examples. Like one was when Hawk like first skips infected. Obviously, they just all as like a 5-man team just run into this tiny hallway and just get like slowed and killed. But I also noticed, like, as they continued to like move the cart forward, that what ended up happening is the whole backline just started getting backset to like avoid this issue. So they just have to deal with infected, right? So he always can just like sit on a corner and sit on the cart and like never like he has to get cleared, basically. Make it like very difficult for you guys for like a beat push to kill your backline or something like this, right? This is like the first example that I mentioned.
Yeah. So this is
This
a comp we
crazy, though.
specifically had against SAG, because once again they can only play like the Lucio Kiri D.Va as well. So we were like, what is the most hard for them to rush through, like comp where we can just take angles and we can have 1 or 2 people touch the cart and we can just hold the sides and corral them into rooms while winning the poke war against the D.Va. And we were thinking like, we really like the Ramatra into specifically like Lucio Kiri D.Va or Break Kiri D.Va, because the Ramatra faces up against the D.Va really well. So the D.Va almost has to avoid the Ramatra permanently, like you said, Raelyni, and then the Ramatra can just block their backline. Like as soon as like the Lucio tries to go past, you can slow him, you can run after them, and they're so like narrow. So we actually did that, like what we prepped, really good on this whole map. I think if you skip to the last fight, you can see where we completely give up all angles and we kind of do it wrong, which might be more interesting than watching us like pummel them because they can't get through us, and then eventually they get ults, and I think we start playing it a lot slower.
Yeah, if you go to the I guess from the beat push fight onward. So like when they're
Solomon is dealing with the longest VOD of all time here. It's like 10 hours.
No, actually.
So you might have to use the arrows on the keyboard, Solomon, to skip, unfortunately.
Yeah, so this next fight we end up winning. Maybe we use a little bit too many ults.
Yeah, this one is you guys like kind of flubbed 2 ults in a row.
Yeah. I think the problem there really is though that we gave up like a lot of the angles already beforehand because we're trying to just play for support ult, but I think there we just need to realize that they're having such trouble like coming closer that we might not even have to farm the support ult. We can just keep the front, but we actually end up clutching out this fight and we end up trading like not too badly with ults. Like
Tree just hits them like insane.
Saving our Ram ult, and we end up killing their D.Va while he's bombing. And then if you take a look at our setup this next fight, like our early setup it's fine, but our comp is like designed to make them work for the space. So if we
you
would
back
just
set
hold the
here.
corner again and just
Yeah.
shoot them really hard and make them work for the space, actually they have a lot of trouble to come through us, and they would have to either use an ult or make like a crazy play. But we kind of gave up all that space for nothing. Like you can see where we're starting in the
Yeah,
back
you're
of
not
the
making the
map,
touch hard at
and
all
their
as
diva
well.
is just walking in, and now their diva's kind of got an angle, and we can't do anything because we're starting in the back of the map.
Yeah, you
So
lose
you'd
that
think
like
like,
high
oh,
ground,
we
on the
should
right
just
side.
hold the point, and Ramatra ult is great on point, but actually, like, from a comp perspective, because we're quite immobile with our supports, we don't want to start in the back of the map. We should take all the angles at the start, make them work, and then gradually like phase back and make them like either walk into angles or like have to use ults to push us. So we kind of played into what they're good at here, is just brawling on the point, and they beat push and we lose. But you could see like in those earlier fights, they felt like really hard to walk up and just fight around the point, which is what our whole comp design is about. So I think that's where we kind of fumbled. Maybe like the pressure, or maybe we just wanted to play off ults was too much for us. But if we were to be able to hold that space and make them beat early and then live it, we could have even full held that first point.
Yeah, I think especially in this matchup, like the most scary thing is the beat push as well. Like that's the one ult that Wuyang Kiri really struggles into. So if you can somehow force that early or like off the point, it's so good.
Yeah, very true. I wanted to also ask, I guess towards the end of the round here. So Hawk parks a bomb on the ground and it kills 3 people. So I wanted to ask
The
about
very
this.
last fight of our defense.
Yeah.
That time, I was actually pretty happy because we did go early and make it hard for them to walk up.
Yeah.
But if you, like, pause right here, like anywhere, you can see like we've made a line
Okay,
across
maybe not right
from.
here, Solomon.
We made a line like across from our Ramatra, where our Ramatra's top left, and now our Tracer's holding the right, and our Sojourn's holding main. So this is like really good Overwatch, right? This is what we
Yeah.
didn't do like earlier. We're making it really hard for them to walk. Sadly, now we're not on the Wuyang carry, right? Because that would make it even harder for them to walk. But as this clip plays out, we try to kill them too much instead of holding the line. So you see how our Ramatra
Wow,
and Tracer are like running into their spawn and killing this Jern. You'd think like this is really good, but it actually puts us way out of position where if we'd actually just held that line and pummeled everybody that tried to get across that line, it would be really hard for them. But instead, we kind of overextended from the line we had, and we try to kill their Sojourn too much. But if we would just block this Tracer and just let their Diva touch and kill everybody that's trying to follow the Diva, we would have been really good. And what you can't see on the stream here is we dying like 3 people to Diva bomb. Lep actually got a really good boop because we let him cross the line. Like
I
Lep
see.
booped
Yeah.
RuPaul and Vega. You can't see it, and I think Zero just messed up. But if we had blocked their Lucio and their Tracer more accurately, then that would have been a really good play. Now it might look like a completely fumble, but I actually like holding up like that more than that we just held the cart and
Yeah, no, for sure.
bought on cart.
If you just play for the space instead of playing a kill, then it's just like their touch is so difficult. Right.
Yeah, their touch was really hard there, and then eventually, you know, they clutch up because we use all our cooldowns so early in holding the line that their Diva bomb gets that much value. So I don't think we played that bad. We just made like bad mistakes, but on the first point we played it really bad. So this, as a coach, I'm happier to see like us trying to hold that early. We just got a little too horny to kill the enemy team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess a question I also had from this is like, maybe something like this is like a little maybe difficult to recover from mentally. Like, how does the team sort of approach like a reset when you're like, oh, we're winning, we're gonna hold them, and then you just fumble it? Like, how do you like as a team, like maybe even Seicoe can like even talk about how Twisted approaches this sort of thing, like you just like fumble a clutch.
I think things always go wrong in match, you know, like the good thing was it was their map pick. So we could just be like, oh, you know, we fucked up, we messed up, we're playing better than them. We can just, you know, win our map pick next. You know, so recovering from that, it wasn't too bad. We knew we made some mistakes and messed up. But all in all, I think we were playing like quite good Overwatch, you know, just on that point, and we were using like our flexibility into them. And I also don't think we used. Let me look at what band we used, but I don't think we used like an important band that map.
It was
Uh,
Freya.
Yeah, we
Right?
used Freya because we wanted to play Hanzo. That was like our thinking.
Mm.
There's not really like ball is okay that map, like especially on the third point, but the second and third point is not that good. So Freya kind of just becomes a server admin if we're not on ball at that time. So we banned Freya because it's a bad ball map,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to play Hanzo.
Yeah, I guess the only other stuff that I wanted to bring up here is like I wanted to ask why you guys decided to play Genji on the attack here. What was the thought process behind that?
So they were playing a lot of D.Va, and in general on this map, like it's a lot closer, just like a King's Row. So we wanted to make like a strong push with ults because they had full cap, and Genji has a pretty good matchup with the D.Va. So we were like, okay, let's play the Genji into the D.Va. Also, Freya is banned, and Freya is really good at the Genji. Like Freya makes Genji unplayable. So we had one, no Freya, two, there's D.Va. So we were like, let's play the Genji. We like trying out a lot of stuff and then seeing if it sticks, especially because it was a first to four. We were like, oh, we could see the Genji value now, and you could see later on they banned Genji because they were scared of it into the D.Va.
Yeah. Okay, maybe in the interest of time, we can move forward. There you go.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great job. Yeah. I'm trying to think of ways to get Seicoe involved. So yeah, you're doing a great job, Ray, and I'll keep thinking.
It's all good. Don't worry. My time will come.
Yeah. We have your
may-
series waiting too, yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can discuss. Do you want to talk about Hollywood? I think kind of the stuff on Hollywood was just like discussing like when to switch to Winston on that map, I guess, because like that first point is so Brawl favored now, right? And then eventually we see that you guys switch over to playing Winston for like a very large portion. Like, I guess I also had a question like, what is your thought on like the state of Winston right now? Because I had a lot of debates with my players on the state of Winston.
But Winston Lucio Kiri is
Mm.
quite good on like
Yeah.
these push maps. And as you can see, they banned ball here. So
Mhm.
we're like, okay, second point, that's more of a dive point, and it's actually really favorable for D.Va into Ram on this point in particular,
just
because
use the
D.Va
high
can
ground
just keep
stuff,
flying
yeah.
up and down, and Ram just sits on the point. So we really like Ram on first and third, and in general, that's more of like the brawl comp, stats. And hybrid in general, it's probably like the hardest mode for main tank teams. It's all the hybrids are really good for off tanks.
Yeah.
So we tried to get around that by picking Hollywood, which is the best main tank map out of the hybrid maps. And yeah, we have to play the Winston because it's the most mobile into their comp. I think Winston into D.Va is fine. It's really playable. We just messed up a lot of our pushes. I think we also, and this is like a hindsight thing, we also messed up by banning the Kiriko here because we felt like on Ilios we actually got like a lot of nades with Diana even through the D.Va, because she doesn't have infinite DM. At some point we can push, but then they would get Suzu, right? So
Mm.
from my perspective, we were like, oh, the Kiri is like really an issue, and CJ was having a great match. Like he had a great match in general, but also up until this point. And I feel like CJ is not as good at the Ana and the Baptiste. So we were like, okay, let's ban the Kiri. We think RuPaul's more flexible, and let's play the Baptiste and the Ana. So we kind of get stuck on this Symmetra for a while because we didn't use our ults and we were kind of too kill hungry again, where we could have just held the high ground a lot and used our Hanzo to our advantage. Because once again, I think here they should definitely be on Freya, but for some reason they're not on Freya here. So
We're also on the
our comp
controversial
is
Hanzo at this point with no positioning
Mhm.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you couldn't even hear in the comms check here, like the fight plan was to like go fast with Ramel, I think probably to swap,
yeah, we wanted to
right?
swap, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I
But
think
then
we
that
messed
didn't
up
end
our
up
push
happening.
like really hard here.
Yeah.
We get so jolted. I think we kind of messed that up because I think Hawk was using his flight really early on the Tracer a lot of the time this map, and we actually had push opportunities to take the top and just ram ult, but we would focus Hawk like too much, and the rest of their team would be free, which is why you see like Chronic get those kills. And then here we end up swapping to the Winston because I think on the second point, like Ram is really hard to take any space with.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, we end up swapping to the Winston here, and then I think if we play it right and play to farm ults, and the ults of the Winston comp are really good, especially when they're not on Kiriko, it's a very playable matchup. But Winston into Freya is it's just really hard.
Yeah, yeah. No way.
So you know they're not playing Freya here. I think Winston's quite good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just making a joke because like I felt like half the time, you know, players would be like, "Oh, I think Winston's terrible," and the other times like, "Oh, Winston's so good," and then it's just like back and forth. I think it just really depends on like the map and the ban state. Obviously, the player and the matchup as well.
But
so.
I thought it was a really interesting point you made then about Hawk's playstyle playing the diva. So just so we get this right, are you basically saying that like Hawk would use his flight like pretty early, and then you would use your ultimates in turn, or not ultimates, you would use your abilities in turn, and you kind of be like stuck here having used your abilities with no position whatsoever, and the longer these fights kind of like went on, like it was harder and harder for you to try to get in a good position to have good fights. Did
So
I
in
kind of
general-
mess that up?
I think against any like mobility tank, like a Winston, a Diva, or anything, when they use their mobility cooldown to push aside or they're not main anymore, that's kind of your window to push strongly main. And we felt like Hawk would fly at our tracer a lot. So then that has to be like our turn to take space as well and to try to take space on the map because he doesn't have that cooldown for a couple seconds and might be out of position. So I don't think it's necessarily like a Hawk thing. I felt like Hawk does play more to kill than like a European Diva would. But I think whenever like they would use a cooldown, I think on this map in particular, we didn't take enough space or push strong enough to punish that. Our comp isn't the fastest comp, but when the enemy team like leaves open space, you have to take it no matter what comp you're on, right? So I felt like we left a lot to be desired on this map, and you know I let the team hear it after this too. Like we have to take this space when they give it. I showed a couple examples, and I think throughout the next two maps you could really see like we upped our tempo and our playstyle, and we would take the open space. But I think since this was our map pick, and we had practiced Hollywood a lot, it felt like we didn't take all the opportunities we could get. And I feel like this matchup for us is actually pretty good because they're not on the Freya. The Winston's pretty free.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the defense is actually your defense is where was the most interesting to me as Lep just like
Just
dives into a
such
post
an
bomb. Lep moment. Sometimes that happens. But yeah, I here actually we have a where's this? Yeah, this is way far down the defense here. But you're actually 3 swaps over to the Genji here. Can we go back a bit earlier onto this defense, Solomon? Because I think you start out with like the Ram Bap, which I think is, you know, fairly self-explanatory here now. Like this is what you've been trying to do for like the last few maps, right? But then this defense kind of like fails here, and then there you start making a bunch of swaps. Like I think RuPaul essentially has like a full matrix and just like I want to go Ana and make sure I have the Ana swap already like from the get-go on second point. I think Vega sometimes swaps too. I could be wrong. And it's a defense where essentially you just like you don't really feel situated on the comp at any given time. Is that kind of like what you thought as well as you were watching this defense onto Hollywood?
I felt maybe we could stay on like the Baptiste and Cass, but we felt like we just want to be on the good comp because actually this first point isn't the point you're supposed to hold as a main tank team on Hollywood. We felt like, oh, if we just get the right comp on second point is usually actually really long on Hollywood. So we just wanted to, even though we were throwing away ults, just wanted to be on the right comp. And then even if we like lose a fight, we just get the ults out that fight and we hold at the end of second point. Like if you watch our match against GK in the regular season, and then yeah, just in general, our Hollywood we always hold on second point because we make these like really aggressive swaps and we don't care about the ult situation that much because we know like if we can just get this high ground, which we saw we could get in this case because we died on point, we should be situated to make this hold because even they have a beat, we still have our own beat here, which is why we saw on the Lucio, and our Ana is really free on this high ground. If the Diva like flies up all the way to this high ground, she's way out of position. It's actually really hard to live. But you can kind of see how we forced a push there. Like that's where we messed up. I think because we make all those swaps, we should just play to hold the point and play for second beat so we can get more ults out. But we first beat it in, didn't get a kill. They just beat it, and now we're in a really, really bad spot.
Yeah,
So
to
I
retake
think
second without any ults
we
is really rough.
got really antsy because I think the players were also talking to each other, but in general, on our attack, we didn't take the opportunities. So we kind of forced trying to take the opportunity on our defense when we didn't need to. Because our comp is just better at shooting, right? We have a Freya, they don't have a Freya. Our Ana sitting all the way in the back of the map on high ground. Their Ana sitting inside a room on low ground. We can just like play the farm nano, farm primal game. But as you can see, we forced that first push, and then now they have the high ground, and we need to like make a push work, and we completely fail at that. So the point you have to hold as a main tank team is where we like completely fumbled it, and their diva got too much value because we were forcing pushes, and we gave their ults too much value by not holding the space and making the line, which I talked about on Rialto. I think that like comes back to like every comp, especially when we're playing these Freya comps. Like we can make the line and shoot, and then when they cross it, maybe we can push. But they were just doing nothing, you know, so we didn't need to push.
Yeah, just
So-
forcing your own resources and stuff for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so this is where I'm curious if you have any kind of like insight when it comes to like the Tracer duel here between Zero and Sugar Free, because as this map kind of closes out, obviously Infected leaves the card, drops like really low towards the end. It's like 3 minutes from now or whatever. But Infected drops really low, and I think part of that is because of the pressure that Sugar Free has on RuPaul on that Ana. And obviously you can, you know, delegate, like Vega can help out with that. And Vega actually did go to help RuPaul in that moment, but it was maybe a little bit late. Infected didn't get the healing, was forced to leave the cart here. So kind of like when you're thinking about Sugar Free as a player, obviously like an amazing star player Tracer, how do you kind of like prepare the micros for that? Like, is Zero involved in that process? Like, what does Zero have to do? How is Vega thinking about this? And this is the fight, actually. So you can see the bubble plop down. Zero gets taken out by trades, and then Infected has to leave because he's like 5% to Primal and drops low. So we can rewind that and look at it again. But like, how do you think about Sugar Free's Tracer and like how you kind of like prep for his micro play?
Oh, we don't necessarily like we know like Lenny is a really good tracer, and we need to like play to shut him down. But we don't necessarily go into a match like thinking like, oh, we need to mark this guy. You know, we trust Zero to have a formidable enough tracer on his own where, if our backline like is able to make the right moves and rotate away from their pressure, we can make those plays. It's mostly like the diva that's nullifying our Ana value, and this point in general just not being good for Winston. So you see they make the Zarya swap, and normally like Winston's really good at the Zarya, but on this point it becomes quite tough because they can just touch point, and we can't do our like bubble, like touch point, nano, primal rotation that you want to do as a main tank team. So I think it's not necessarily so much about the fight. It's like we didn't make them work for the space in that last fight we were watching. And then for your question, I think I always assign my players a role depending on what comp we're playing. And if we have a weak backline, like if we have a weaker backline than the enemy team, let's say we're on Ana and they're on Kiriko, our tracer's job is more to mark their tracer and not let him get like as close, because
Right.
our Ana will
Yeah.
get more value over time. And then when both teams are on Ana or both teams are on Kiriko, it's up to our backline to also like make those plays and live, right? Just because Sugar Free is like a really good player, we can't not play the game anymore, and we all have to look at him, right? So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a prepare against Sugar Free thing. It's just about our players have to know their role and do it better than the enemy team. And if Sugar Free makes those plays, we'll just have to make up for it and make our own plays too.
Yeah, I don't think any top team like prepares to shut down one specific player. You know, I don't think that's a thing. I think if you don't get to a grand finals of a stage without having at least like equal counterpart. You know, like Zero for sure can hold his own. Maybe arguably better than Sugar Free as well. You know, whoever like. So I mean, you just trust your teammates and you just make your own plays. You know, no one ever says, oh, okay, we have to shut this guy down. You know, focus this guy. You know, everyone just plays their own game, and hopefully you play better, because you don't get, like I said, you don't get to grand finals without having at least equally skilled players on your team, you know?
Right. I guess what I'm trying to say is that like you're a tracer player, Seicoe. So like obviously you go into a matchup at least thinking somewhat not about shutting down a specific player like as a team, but like you shift your tracer playstyle maybe a little bit depending on like obviously what you're facing against and trying to be aware of the duel of some kind. Like I'm just curious about your mindset as a tracer player, like when you go into a match, because you dual checkmate for example, and it's going to be relevant when you look at the match. But like, how would you like think about a tracer matchup like that? Do you just not think about it at all? Is it just comp dependent? Like I'm just curious, like your mindset is.
Yeah, it's just purely comp dependent, to be honest. Like Casores said, I actually agree with that. Like if you have a weaker backline, then you can look to mark the tracer. Like if you have an Anna or a Zen against the Kiri, you can look to mark the tracer more. And if it's like a mirror matchup, you just try to get value yourself, get on enemy backline. Like in the clip or VOD we just saw, it's a Lucio Anna backline. Like both teams have super weak backlines. And both backlines are super killable. So I don't think you try to focus on marking the enemy tracer. You just try to get your own value.
Yeah,
Okay.
usually in the setups, I mean, obviously it just depends on the matchup, but you'd have like your Lucio maybe playing more to mark sides and like have your Tracer play more to like force support cooldowns or something like this. But it depends on the map and the matchup, obviously.
Do you want to take us into Esperanca here, right?
Yeah, I think we can like kind of speed run the last section. I actually had a conversation with Danny about like your band direction for Esper, so I thought maybe I would give you like the floor to discuss. Like I think like the band direction for the next two maps, I think kind of won the maps basically, or like made them really, really hard for SSG.
Yeah, I think here we like really show like our flexibility and our strengths. We chose second ban on this map. Danny was messaging me, oh, you know, the Diva's a problem, which it obviously was. We were losing to the Diva. And you don't want to go free one down. So we felt like we needed to use a strong ban scenario here. But if we would ban Diva first, we were really scared of a Tracer ban, and then they play Zarya into Genji. Because Zera's best characters, they're obviously like Tracer and Genji is what we're looking to play. But if we ban Diva first, they ban Zera's Tracer, and maybe they play like, you know, they either Zarya Genji or Zarya Reaper. The game becomes really hard for us because we're playing Genji into Zarya, which would be like really devastating. So even though we're looking to ban Diva, we gave second ban, or we took second ban here. We gave them first ban, and if they would ban a tank, I believe we plan to ban Cass. I don't remember 100%, but the Diva Cass comp was basically the problem. So if they banned a tank, they didn't have many tank bans left. They already banned Winston and
Yeah.
Ball, so they
Yeah.
didn't have any tanks basically that they realistically could ban. So we were quite confident, like, oh, if they ban a tank, we're in a good spot, and if they ban a DPS, then we're also in a good spot because we could just ban Diva. The scenario we kind of had in mind is if they banned the Tracer, we were gonna ban Zarya, and then yeah, play so the Genji into the Diva, which you already done earlier on Rialto, which we're also pretty confident at. So
Nice.
I feel like that was probably like the band scenario where me and Danny were like, oh, this is really good for us in every scenario because they kind of blew their load early with the ball ban and the monkey ban on like map one and three, like our really strong maps. We had kind of been saving like our really strong bans for this scenario, which is why I think we win the next two maps pretty convincingly. I think we have the most confidence on push and flashpoint because we are a team that's really confident in our Lucio Kiri comps, especially Lucio Kiri Winston. And as the map goes on, you can kind of see how the Lucio Kiri Winston, the ult value is just so high that if we just play for our Sojourn angle and for our ult value, we do really good. So we had a good ban scenario for us, and we banned their strongest pick in our head, the Diva, and yeah, we were able to take this map convincingly, and then uh, we just have to deal with the Diva for the rest of the series. But evening it up at that point and getting that confidence, I think that's the most important because you don't want to go free one down. That's like a really bad scenario.
Yeah, it puts you in like a tough spot because then you sometimes just have to pick maps just to win maps as opposed to like picking maps to deny their map picks and
Yeah, and in the first
whatever.
of four,
Yeah.
if you go past map 5, they get every map pick, right? And they can
Oh,
pick
yeah,
any
true.
map in the pool. So it
Yeah.
becomes like, King's Row becomes available and all their
You
good
really
map
want to be,
becomes
if
available.
possible, you
So
want to be in that
3-1
2-2
down,
situation.
it's a
Yeah.
nightmare scenario when you're not playing mirror matchups everywhere,
Yeah, yeah,
So
makes
we had to use our strongest ban here, and we couldn't ban it like early. We had to ban it late because otherwise they ban Tracer.
Yeah, true. And I also liked on Sura, because I was curious, like when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, maybe this is just like a banning Mauga just to, have a ban that you can burn. But actually, in a way, like kind of mind controls Hawk to play Diva, which I messaged Danny after and I said, did you purposefully like use this to bait like a Diva pick? And he was like, yeah, we used it because like we were thinking about playing Monkey. But then like Sig has a pretty good strong matchup into Diva. So if you can somehow convince them to not play Zarya, right? Then you can just pick Sig and you can just econ your way to 2 free points. I thought this was really smart.
Oh, I think Danny is giving
Is he overstating it?
creative answer there. The truth is we just don't have a ban.
Creative.
We just don't have a ban. I mean, they banned Sojourn. We only have DPS bans left that are strong for us.
I see.
We had the cast ban still, I believe. So we've already banned Lucia, we've already banned Kiri, and we've already banned Diva, which is the comp that they want to play. And we're really not scared of the Zarya. We kind of wanted them to play Zarya, so we left that open. Or maybe we'd already banned it on an earlier map. I don't think so. I think we still had Zarya banned. But we left that open because we
Yeah, you guys
really
never
weren't
banned
scared of the
this whole
Zarya,
series, yeah.
especially when we were planning to play Sig. Sig demolishes Zarya. Ryan also demolishes Zarya. It's like the matchups that are really good for us. We banned Mauga because we felt like they had played like Mauga in 1 or 2 scrims, and they'd actually done quite good on this map. So it was just like the only thing that they could maybe play.
You'd play as this one without having to use the Zarya ban.
So
which wouldn't have
we
really
just
done anything.
had no other bans, and we felt like the Zarya is actually a really good matchup for Sig and Winston, which is both open and
Yeah.
it's both like really, really strong on this map. I think Zarya only has like a really good matchup into Ball, but we actually don't like Ball that much on Suravasa, like because I feel like the Ball on Suravasa into Diva cast is so hard, and they were only doing good on Diva cast. Like if they swap Freya, yeah, we'll swap Ball, but they were like doing really good at Diva cast, so we were just looking like, what can we do that doesn't give away what we want to do, right? Because maybe if we ban the Zarya, they can like expect the Sigma or something like that. But we were really confident at the Sig into both Diva and Zarya, and we knew that we were doing like not too good on the like dive comps into the Diva cast. So we wanted to pull out like some of the things that we've been practicing all stage and kind of surprise them and put the ball in their court. And I think the surprise worked really well here.
Yeah, I think it worked
better
super
than
well.
even expected, because we were thinking, okay, we'll just make them like hard swap the comp and then we will also swap. But they didn't know what to swap, and they playing like Cass into Sigma, which Cass is actually really hard into Sigma. And Zarya cast is even worse. So we were just able to block what's in front of us, so we just stayed on Sigma the whole time.
Yeah.
But our initial thinking was we're going to play the Sig on this first point, counter them. If they swap to a counter, we'll be ready to swap again, right? Like we were ready to swap the ball against Freya. And they just never went Freya, so. And it just kept working.
I think we can skip ahead because we're already past the hour to maybe Jib. Do you want to go, John?
We took a
Sorry,
little bit to
Seicoe,
start the
I'm
episode.
taking all your
Don't worry,
time here.
I'll be fast. I'll be fast.
I want to talk about EU though. I'm really interested.
Our game was a
in
little
this
bit
as well.
more straightforward than NA. NA was an absolute dogfight, so
Yeah, that's true actually.
Yeah,
I guess like the questions that I want to ask later are like how you guys prepared differently between, because you guys just versed each other twice, right? So
yeah.
like the differences between those matchups is really interesting. But on Jib, I guess the last thing just for Jib is just like, how did you guys like approach going into that last map? Because they end up banning Ana on that map, right? Or no? Yeah, they end up banning Ana.
They
right?
banned Ana. We actually weren't scared of an Ana ban. We kind of wanted to bait the Ana ban because we really wanted to protect Tracer, because we feel like against the Diva comp, especially on Jib, we really wanted to play Tracer. So, and just play like a normal matchup, And the Ana hadn't been working as the Diva all series. Like we barely scraped by Ilios, but on Hollywood it went terribly wrong, and we felt like we weren't playing that good on Ana. We were just playing good on Kiriko. So we were really fine with them banning Ana, and they want to protect support ban. And we just wanted to ban a DPS to protect Tracer. But we didn't have any other bans. Maybe in hindsight, it would have been better to just throw away ban the map before that on Kings Row, and not ban the cast there, and ban it on Gibraltar. But actually, Jib is not that good of a cast map anyway, right? It's pretty bad for cast. So we were like, okay, just throw away banning. We think that on Jib specifically, the D.Va and like the comps that they want to play kind of need a Symmetra to play it, but we knew they weren't going to play Symmetra either way, right? Because to not play Symmetra a whole series and then suddenly pulling it out of map 7, that would be absurd.
They're also coming off the heels of the soccer game
yeah,
where they had played it. Yeah.
That's just like the we need to protect Tracer. We're not scared of Ana ban because we kind of wanted to play Kiriko Wuyang because it had been working before that. We feel like it's stronger into D.Va. So that was our thinking there. And then we actually do really good on our defense, like juggling point and playing the game, and we deny their hit scan value altogether. And it's the same thing as I said on Ilios. If we can make them all play on one angle and make our Freya really free, we do really good. But then on our attack, we kind of start falling apart. We start rushing our pushes rather than, like, if you watch the first like point on attack, we like push them into server room. But D.Va is OP in server room.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I'm skipping ahead.
Because I thought I watched this defense and I watched the first 90 seconds and I type in our Discord we have production. I was like, I don't see how SSG breaks this. Like I just because it was so dominant.
Looking at Chronic
it looked
stuck
really
in the
scary.
pipe, yeah.
But there are crucial details here. So Chronic gets stuck in the pipes, which is a little unlucky, obviously. But this was like the big fight, the big ultimate fight on defense here. And if we actually just go back like 10, 15 seconds here, Solomon, I think one of the big crucial details that helps SSG cap here is actually that like Lep holds the sound barrier, which, if you go into this fight and you think like this is the big ultimate fight, Chronic is stuck in the roof, Lep holds onto the sound barrier, and obviously now on your defense, you can again push forward, like you said, to like hold that line, right? And you're playing this ball composition, but you know that Lep has this sound barrier, so obviously you want to force it as early as possible. And I think you're probably like calling like to lose you all the time here. So the fact that Lep held on to this sound barrier and got it off in like a half decent way, like I think it's actually some credit to Lep for doing that, because I think that's really difficult against your comp.
Yeah, I think in this case we actually did quite good where we went early, right? Like you could see like how we're pressuring their spawn and forcing them to come close and making it really hard for them to walk up, because we know like they're gonna beat if they just get the point and beat, we're screwed. And we try to Wuyang ult early. Maybe we should do it on Tracer instead of ball, but they Suzu it really good. We would have gotten a connect. And Hawk just goes on point alone. He is the D.Va bomb. And they beat, so I think they played that quite well, and we didn't play it badly at all. Like we pressured them early. We tried to kill the Lucio. I think he had good pathing under, and he got matrixed. So we weren't unhappy with how we played that first defense at all. I think Rialto, like the last fight, we screwed up badly, but this time I think they played it quite good. And like Seicoe said earlier, right, beat push is the hardest fight to win.
Yeah.
So they get the point. They beat push. There's no like backing anymore because we have to touch the point. If like the card is way earlier, you can back it and kite it. But if you have to touch the point, it just becomes really hard.
I think also if you're the defending team here, you're like kind of okay with them having to use like a ton of resources to just cap this first point, because this second point is just so difficult to attack.
Yeah.
So I think you're kind of
Yeah,
okay.
we do a lot better on the second point defense too, because I feedback them like after Hollywood, like, oh, if there's no push to be made and they're not coming closer, we don't have to push. And we did really good here, just like marking the cart, making their Freya not able to play the game, and just shooting strongly. I think they felt some nerves here, and we knew like if our comp, we just do our job, it's impossible for them to play the game. They have to go to cart, and then our Freya's free. And their Freya's not free, so I think he swaps over to Cass, which I think is a good swap. But Cass on second point Jib attack, it's miserable, right?
Yeah.
It's really miserable.
It is one of the layers in Dante's Inferno. It's just like the second point attack on Jib is just, oh my god.
On hit scan? Yeah.
It's so annoying. But it was my storyline brain was just like the fact that they capped first point, it allowed SSG a chance to win the finals in the first place. And if that last fight had gone differently, like that
They
left
would've
sound
gone further,
barrier and the
yeah.
fact they got that push off was obviously huge for their chance of winning this map in the first place, right? So it just felt like a small play that actually had huge importance in how SSG were set up for the rest of this map, right? But yeah, Chronic having a tough time here getting the angles. That's life. That's life sometimes.
I think
But
especially
actually,
once ball gets that shield perk too, it's like that's so
Yeah.
hard.
And Suzu, didn't get the Suzu on the pulse there, but I think I wanted to say as well that I think CJ, had like some insane Suzus throughout the series and like played really well overall. So I was really impressed by.
Can we watch the last
CJ.
fight as our last thing for NA, because this is like the infamous
The Hawk incident.
Yeah, the Hawk incident, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like a little bit of like going into this, like we had kind of struggled to do our jobs. I think second point attack Gibraltar, you can't start by trying to take the top right away. Like you kind of have to pressure the cart, make them like fall back and have to use resources, and then take top with your Freya. Because we a couple fights ago had just tried to blow things up and win fast and kill the cast up top, and then he just got matrix through it and we wasted primal, and I think we wasted beat in the fight before trying to do that. This last fight, I think RuPaul made a really crucial call. He said like, guys, we're rushing top too hard. We need to shoot point first, which is like such a simple call, but in these map 7 moments, that's really critical. And we start by shooting point, and then once like a couple of them touch, you can see Tree fly up and he calls, I'm taking top, and Arcuri TPs to him, and they all have to drop. And now we have all the angles on the map. I feel like even before like the Hawk incident, if we do that like a couple fights, but yeah, here you can see like we're taking top and we're Kiri rushing strong and we're all pushing at the same time. And luckily, Hawk gets the 1% off the D.Va ult, but from like a macro perspective, we actually took the map way better here. Because even if they get the D.Va bomb here, we would still have that top left triangle, and we would still have the whole map, right? It'd be a lot tougher. He wouldn't just die, but they would have to like retake the space, and Hawk would have to fly in rather than just being able to protect Chronic, who's already there. So we messed up for like 2 or 3 fights on the macro, trying to win too fast and not playing a solid second point Gibraltar, which is one of the hardest points to attack in the game, seen from both sides. But in that final fight, I want to point out, like, we did it right, and Tree found like a good window to take top, as well as us getting a little lucky.
Yeah, so in a way, you think like the results of like Hawk getting demacked is just a result of you guys playing the map just way better?
Oh
earlier
no, I
in
think
the
he
fight?
misplayed that fight, but
Oh, okay.
I'm saying like that's how it should be played, and I think even if we'd gotten that bomb off, it's still a toss up because we
Yeah,
were
true.
taking top, but we were taking the whole.
You already
map
had
away
all the
from them.
angles. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hawk made a crucial mistake though. Like he used his booster to fly to the point before he even had to touch. I watched it back from his PV. He had like maybe 5 more meters to give, but he decides to fly to point instead of just dropping down. And then he obviously doesn't have his survivability to get out and get that extra 1%, and then it's just GG.
You know
I
what?
agree.
I don't think I blame him. It's it's as nervous as, I don't think he's nervous, but like as tense as he gets.
Yeah.
So you don't want to C9 on the 1%. So it's a mistake for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I
feels
mean, but
bad.
you are playing D.Va, Lucio, Kiri, Tracer. Like, there's so many people that can touch the point. But I mean,
Right.
you're right. I mean, it's as tense as it gets. Map 7 last fight.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. They did drop that. Like it would have been interesting if he got it off in like a different dimension or whatever, because then they would have had the bomb at like a later rush and like to just see how it played out. But that's how cookie crumbles. Tree made a good call, and Liquid approached the point correctly, and there you are, Casores, you're a champion. So there you go.
Just like that.
Just like that. Map 7, last fight, no problem.
I think SSG played a really good finals, because even leading up to that, like we'd been able to abuse like shooting them at the front with Ramatra really strong, and we were honestly like beating them on Ramatra on like a lot of maps in scrims. because they can't play that Kiri Wuyang diva. But in the match, I think they did a much better job, like shutting down our Matra and like being able to rotate and get value with their diva tracer combo. And I think CJ played like an absurd match. I think that's his best match to date. So I think they made it really tough for us, and in the end we got kind of lucky. But I think they played like a really good series.
All right, that concludes the NA portion. Thank you, Seicoe, for being in the waiting room for a little bit there. We'll we'll take a look at your.
It's interesting. It's interesting for me as well to hear it.
Yeah. Glad it's working out. All right, let's head into EMEA here. So the storied rivalry, Twisted Minds, Qadsiah. I don't know which match this is. I don't know how many times you played. 15 times or something now, including Saudi League.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. But at this point, so Casores is out. He doesn't want to hear any of this. He's just left. So I guess there's so many ways to like contextualize this. Obviously, you played in the upper bracket finals already, and that was really close. Qadsiah win 3-2 scenario. But I think I want to start like even earlier than that. It's just like, when did Symmetra kind of like fall out of the meta in your eyes? Because obviously you're two of the best Symmetra teams. Huge, matchup at EWC, and then you beat them in Saudi E-League. But like, at what point were you like, there's not going to be any Symmetra involved in this series? They played a little bit of Symmetra at the start, but for the most part, they were a lot less Symmetra.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think Symmetra fell out of the meta at all. I think we just know Qadsiah and how they play way too well. I mean, as you can see, we played Sim into VP and we absolutely dominated them, and Qadsiah would have done the same. And I think any other team, Qadsiah would have played Sim into. And so I don't think Sim fell out of the meta at all. I think we're just way too good at countering it, and obviously Qadsiah knows that, because the week before that we played them in Saudi League and it was a 4-2, but we won like, I think, most of the sim maps, and it wasn't really close, like depending on the bands. So they knew, and then we scrimmed them afterwards, and it was very clear that we know how to counter sim. So I think I know that's the reason why they didn't play sim. But I expected that they would try to play no sim in the upper bracket, and then in the grand finals they would end up resorting back to the sim, which I guess they tried in the first map, but it didn't end up working, and it looked just like our scrims. So I think they just got scared afterwards and they stopped playing the sim.
So what kind of like changed between the upper bracket and the grand finals in your mind? Did you review it anything, or like made some slight differences, or did you trust your?
Yeah, I mean, we had a team talk right after we lost that upper bracket, and we looked at our bands and stuff, and we're like, honestly, I mean, we played the matchups we want to play. We always told ourselves, if they don't play sim, there's no reason to lose, because I mean, we all think we're better than them on like a Tracer Freya mirror, on these type of heroes when there's no sim involved. So we said, okay, we'll just keep banning around the sim to make them scared of playing sim. And if it's a Tracer Freya, Tracer Hitscan mirror, we're just gonna win because we're better players and we know how to play these comps. Like, there was no reason or no excuse for us to lose that matchup. The only thing that changed from the upper bracket to the grand finals was that we were more confident in the comps we play. In the upper bracket, we expected them to play more the Diva Lusukiri mirror and not lean into the counter Diva style with the Zarya. But I mean, it's smart from them, because Diva is super hard into Zarya. And then when we saw that they want to take the Zarya mirror, we're like, okay, you guys want to play this way, we'll play this way. And then we just go Zarya and we beat them in that matchup.
Right. So a little bit more context as well. I'm just curious, because the maps were the exact same from the upper bracket finals and the grand finals as well. So I'm kind of just curious about your insight from scrims or whatever. Like, why did we land on these 5 maps specifically, like back to back? And were there any alternatives?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was super surprised as well that it ended up playing out exactly like the day before. Lijiang Tower is the only one that really makes sense to me, because they've been the higher seed, I think, for the last 2 stages. So the only map they ever have to scrim is Lijiang. So they should be better than anyone else on this map. Like, every other team has to scrim other maps at least a couple times a week. They're the only team which can just play Lijiang only. So I guess it makes sense that they picked Lijiang again. But the thing I disagree with is them doing the exact same ban. That was a bit surprising to me, especially since we just beat them the day before on the same ban on the same map. But yeah, I mean, I won't complain. It worked out perfectly for us, and the fact that they picked Junkertown with the exact same ban as well, is just super nice to us as well, because we were confident in that mirror and that matchup, and we knew we're the better players on a Tracer Hitscan mirror, so we're ready to take that.
All right, let's head into the gameplay here a little bit. So obviously you won the day prior. They made some slight compositional adjustments. I think they played Symmetra Cas on. No, I'm blanking on it. The indoors round on.
Yeah. On Lijiang.
On Lijiang, yeah. Control center. So they made some slight adaptations. Obviously, they rolled out playing the Symmetra as well on Night Market, and they just kind of like tried to push the Zarya as much as possible. And I think that was a bit of a narrative in like how these compositions play out. It's just like try to get like push the Zarya as much as possible, get some bubbles out, stuff like that. So talk us through like kind of what you're seeing here on this round.
Yeah.
This is the upper. This is upper final, or is this is grand?
This is upper final.
No, this is
yeah,
upper
it says
finals,
it on top
yeah.
left that you can see.
Yeah, this is upper finals. Yeah, so because they took the Tracer Wuyang Kiri mirror on this map, and I don't think it was that close at all. So
I wouldn't say it was close, no.
Yeah, so when they decided to do the exact same ban on the exact same map again, it just clicked in my mind. Okay, they want to play sim, you know. They just hit the strat in the upper finals. So, but obviously we were super confident in the sim, because I mean I've said it so many times. We know how to counter sim. So yeah, it was pretty smooth sailing when we saw them roll out on sim.
Yeah, I think we can skip ahead to the grand final. Actually, Solomon, and just take a look at how that Lijiang Tower played out. So, obviously, like I think in regards to how the fights played out, you know, they would play that Symmetra and they would try to TP on top of your tank and just like try to burst the Zarya, and a lot of it was just like you peeling and like trying to get away as much as possible, and then you had enough CDs to take down the Symmetra cast kind of. So like, how did you kind of like navigate around this Symmetra pick here?
Yeah, I mean their only really win con is just 5 stacking and running over our tank or killing the Wuyang, because we have a better side fight because we have Tracer, right? So they can't really fight the side. So the only thing they can really do is TP and push main. But obviously, like we've scrimmed against this and played against this so many times. So Astra and Tivent, they know their job. They know they have to live. So they saved all their cooldowns and wait for the TP. And while this is happening, me and Simple just on the side, you know, behind them all the time. I mean, you see this in many fights where I'm just being behind them, just a nuisance to the Cas. I mean, I think 4 fights in a row I kill Cas first, because they need to push main and pocket their Zarya, so their Cas is just left to die in the back. So as a Tracer player, it's super nice this matchup because they don't really look at me, because they're just trying to kill Tivent. So I'm
You actually got the invisibility cloak.
yeah,
That's crazy.
I mean, I literally do. So it's super nice, and this is why I was super happy when they rolled out on Sim.
I remember there was a match that Alcat played in the VP where they like abused Vistola and they played like Sim Bastion Diva.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be like a real problem to deal with playing Zarya into Diva. Because normally Zarya into Diva is like it's like pretty free, you know? But if there's a Bastion that you can't avoid, it becomes a lot tougher for the Zarya to just bubble and live. Did you guys play against that in Scrim at all? Like I wonder why they pulled that out.
I mean, usually what's really good into that comp is Hazard, right? But they banned it, so I did think they would roll out on the comp you just mentioned. But in case they did that, we just play Diva. This is why we also banned Lucio, because Diva gets super hard when they have Sim, Lucio, Kiri. That's when Diva is almost unplayable. But when they have like double flex support backline like Juno, Kiri, or Wuyang Kiri, Diva is still playable. So this is something we anticipated and we were also fine with. I think it gets a little bit harder, but we still think we win that matchup.
Yeah, then it becomes more of a swapping game.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
You're like going Diva after Bastion and
Yeah.
then maybe they can swap the cast, you know, because then the sim is pretty good into the Diva.
But also, yeah, if they have Bastion, then I'm even freer on the backline because there's actually just nothing shooting me.
Yep. Trace is pretty good right now.
Yeah.
All right. I guess this is we can kind of like chat about this as well. That like Quartz picked up the Freya a little bit more than in the past. If I remember correctly, like Quartz was one of the players who played Freya the least. Kind of like when Freya was played Freya the least when she was released. Sorry, words. like how just playing with him every day, Seicoe, like did Quartz practice this hero a lot? Like, was he always confident, but it was like a stylistic choice? Like, what kind of led to this? Because Quartz just dominated this series. Like, Quartz was Freya diffing. It was crazy, right? So,
No, I remember when Freya just got released. It's funny because Quartz and Libda both. I know I've heard from because these Saudis, they always talk to each other. I've heard they both hate Freya and they both didn't want to play her, and I don't know, they just preferred their usual, you know, Sojourn cast, the usual hit scans, but I think they realized this hero is very, very strong, so they have to learn it. And I mean, Quartz just became arguably the best Freya in the world. At least I think so, and I mean his performance says so as well. And maybe it's just also the fact that Freya is so good into Sim, and we always have to play Qadsiah, so maybe Quartz realized, okay, maybe I have to learn this hero.
Maybe this character is good.
Yeah, I was
but,
gonna bring that
yeah.
up because I think the reason why Sim is falling out of flavor isn't just because of the TP nerf. It's also because of Freya being so good, right?
Yeah,
You can't really play Sim with a Freya because it's so hard for Freya to take the
True.
TP as easily. Like a Cass or a Soj wants to, especially Cass wants to use the Sim, but Freya
Yeah.
being so strong, it doesn't pair that Sim that well.
yeah, it's true. But yeah, I mean, Quartz was just absolutely insane this series. I mean, me and him, we did such a good job just coordinating, like shooting the same target all the time, and we'll see it later. But I mean, we were just both so locked in, and we were just on the same page the entire time. So to go back to your question, what's it like playing with Quartz? I mean, I absolutely love it. You know, it's just server admin who also calls a lot, and he also is very smart, which is sometimes surprising because these hit scans would just have the best aim in the world. Best aim in the world. You'd expect, okay, maybe there's no way he has everything in the world. No way he's smart as well, but he's actually smart about the game as well, and he has the best aim in the world. So he's just a cheat code, really.
Not fair.
Ray, do you want to move us on to Junkertown?
Yeah, sure. So actually, Junkertown ended up being a mirror for most of it until like the very end. You had already talked a little bit before, like how you guys felt really comfortable in the mirror going into it. Were you expecting them to just like straight mirror you for like the majority of that map? Like how did
Yeah.
that matchup feel?
Yeah, because they always ban Wuyang on escort
Mm.
because they don't like to mirror Wuyang Kiri.
Yeah.
And escort obviously favors that double flex style way more than Lucy Kiri. So when they ban Wuyang Kiri, we have to. Or when they ban Wuyang, we always ban Sim. That's what we talked about the day before and the weeks before. Because
Do
Wuyang
you
is,
mind walking through the thought process for the ban, just so
yeah.
you can
So
understand it?
Wuyang is super good into Sim, and you kind of need a Wuyang to counter Sim. So every time they ban Wuyang, we ban Sim. So that's just sort of how the matchup goes, and they know this, so they were also comfortable with this matchup, and they did win it the day before. But if you watch the match the day before, we actually rolled out on D.Va, so which we didn't expect them to go Zarya. You know, we thought because they have Zia, the best D.Va in the world, arguably with Tivin, you would expect they just take the D.Va mirror, but they ended up rolling out on Zarya, and we were like, okay. I see how it is. So the next day in grand finals, we're like, okay, we'll just take the Zarya mirror and play better. And that's what we ended up doing.
Nice.
I was kind of surprised to see them not play more like the Soj. Obviously, Junkertown first. It's so long, right? It's really good for the Freya.
Yeah.
But in my head, Soj Tracer in like a Zarya mirror, it's better because it puts more pressure on the Zarya. Zarya's actually really good against Freya in my head. So you think that Freya's just that broken that no team played Soj, or why didn't either team play Soj?
Yeah, it's a good point. I remember in our group stage match against VP, it was the exact same bans on this map. And it was a Zarya mirror as well. But we actually played Soj and they played Freya. And we full capped them with like 3 minutes on the clock. And then we full held them as well. And they had to mirror Soj. So, I mean, I'm honestly not sure why no team went Soj. But I don't think it's that big of a difference. Because Junkertown is an insane Freya map because of the long sidelines and all of that. So I think Soj could have been a good swap for them because Freya mirror wasn't really working. But yeah, that's definitely not the reason why they lost.
Yeah, of course. But if you guys are winning the Freya mirror, you guys
Yeah,
stay
Yeah,
Freya, of
don't
course.
swap if you're
Keep
winning,
running
right?
it.
Exactly.
That's just my fake in.
Yeah, no, I mean it's true. Soj makes sense.
especially in Lucio, because I think Kiri Wuyang Frey has a lot more playtime because it's really slow, right?
Yeah.
But once Lucio is being involved, I'm thinking like, oh, Sojourn can be really good here.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
So I wanted to take a look first at the first fight on defense here, actually. Heading into pure VOD review territory here now. But this first defense fight actually like doesn't go that well for you guys. And I just wanted to take a look at like your positioning and Seicoe, like your view of things, like what went wrong on this fight, things you would have liked to do differently. So there will be like a free cam, luckily, because all the replay codes are gone. But there'll be a there'll be a free cam here in just a minute, and we can kind of see how Checkmate wraps around. And Funny Astro is like all the way back. Is this where the fight takes place? I think so. And so Funny Astro will kind of keep an eye out for Checkmate. You, on the other hand, you flank around the coast here, and you pursue Labda, obviously trying to secure that frag. But Checkmate kind of gets past Funny Astro, puts a lot of pressure onto Simple here as well. So I'm just kind of interested, like, your view of this fight, what went wrong, and what you would like to do differently on defense. We can go ahead and play it out so we can see it one more time, and then we can...
Yeah, no,
I've
watched it back, because I was curious as well what happened. I mean, the first 15 seconds of this matchup always goes the same. You know, you bubble trade, so you try to get some energy going, bubble trade, all of that. But then on this particular point, my job is to mark the right side, because you don't want the Freya on the server admin angle on the closed side. But what actually happened was that Checkmate just goes behind, and I watched his POV back for this because I was so curious. But in my opinion, he made a poor decision. Like, he actually played it poorly, but we weren't able to punish him, so it ended up hard carrying, you know? Like, he just takes up like 3 people's aggro, and then Tivin dies in main. So, but he actually used his resources, his blink management super poorly. Like, he was half HP, and he didn't even recall. So if I just go back earlier, instead of chasing the Freya on the right side, he dies, and I think we win the fight. But yeah, he did the right thing. He goes behind, tries to take aggro from our backline, and take some pressure off the Zarya matchup in main. But I think we could have caught him. Like, he went way too far.
And this is where the micro kind of gets interesting too, right? Because I mentioned it earlier how a lot of emphasis is put on taking down the enemy Zarya. And there'll be a clip later. You try to go for a recontest here. It's not the most thrilling fight ever.
Yeah.
But there's so much emphasis on taking down the enemy Zarya. And at that point, when you play those mirrors, like every single CD starts to matter. Like you can get a Susu out. Like that's a big cooldown. And it's just about like you get us out the Zarya bubbles. Obviously massive difference in how you're able to pressure the enemy Zarya. So the fact that he was able to like, maybe he made a mistake, but like he committed so much attention, which made it easier for Qadsiah to push TVNT. And to some extent, like that was like a difference in a fight
for sure.
like that.
No, he hard carried that fight. But we should have been able to punish him if we played it better. But we didn't, so he hard carried the fight. But I just want to say, like, this matchup, this Zarya Lucy Kiri matchup is super snowbally. Like, you mess up one ult, like Astro just did with the beat, and the map is pretty much over already, you know?
Yeah,
like,
actually, I marked this fight because I thought that, like, how do you guys, like, I guess as a team, do you, like, when you have a fight where you just over-invested like crazy, like, what is the thought process here? Like, how do you guys recover from this? I think you end up even winning this next fight, or it's really close.
Insane fight.
We basically just say, okay, we need a miracle, boys.
Yeah,
you know?
you just like go for crazy play. You like have to.
And
I guess they went for this like beat play here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to see from the perspective what went wrong here. It's just like
some shit
you popped
happens,
off.
Yeah.
No, I mean they obviously know they have beat advantage, so. And maybe we don't have grab just yet, so they did the right thing. They pushed.
Yeah,
but obviously Tivin lived long enough, like super clutch. He took the mega, and ended up getting the grab. So, and I hit the pulse bomb onto Checkmate. So we ended up clutching it out. But I mean, they make a super good play here and just go over the top right. I think 5 men, and they just catch us off guard while we're still ult tracking. So.
Oh, here, yeah.
I mean, this is super good from them.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, now I mean they just win this fight.
I think
yeah.
No,
go on.
I was going to say that like it's kind of tough for you as well because the card is 4 meters. But in the skirmish, like you have to use a lot of blinks and your recall as well. So it's not like you can go like forward scout or anything. Like you kind of just stuck on the cart and they go above you.
Yeah.
They just run over your
And
team
you're,
while you're
you're
just
always
waiting.
a little bit scared of the C9, you know? Even if you see them go out, it's always in the back of your mind. Okay,
Did I
maybe
kill 5?
I have to watch
Can they
point.
get behind
Yeah,
me?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's always a little bit scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at this point of the matchup, we're like, I mean, it's going super wrong, you know? So I think later on, in like a minute or two, you'll see Timon go over to the Haz and Simple go over to the BAP. And this wasn't planned at
You guys
all.
also picked up a cast, right? Or was that?
Yeah,
like
you're right.
Yeah.
Quartz also went Cas, and this wasn't planned at all. It was just something in the moment. But I mean, it ended up working out, you know. This is just the TM way. We just clutch it out sometimes.
What was the thought process for this swap? It's just like the range considerations on the map?
I mean,
or
it's just because it just wasn't working, you know, what we were doing.
Yeah.
So this is like more. You can make more individual plays on this comp. You know, like in that Zarya Lucy-Kiri matchup, it's legit just macro. There's not many individual plays you can do. If you fuck up ults, it's over. So yeah.
But it was something you played more, like, earlier on. Like, didn't TVNT, like, you like to play the Hazard a bit more than the
you're right.
Zarya, and at some point you started playing the Zarya more later in the stage, right?
No, it's a good point. Before the upper bracket, before the upper bracket final, we thought Hazard counters Zarya, but then, you know, we struggled a little, and then we realized that Zarya and Freya is maybe too much for Hazard, you know? Zarya alone, without the Freya, maybe Hazard does counter Zarya, but when Zarya has the Freya, it's just so much pressure on the Hazard, and he can't really do too much.
That's what we had it in A2. Like GK loves to play the Hazard, right?
Yeah.
So they were playing Hazard for a while in scrims, but Freya is just so good at the Hazard. It's an unplayable matchup. So even like GK, like love Hazard, they gave up on Hazard too just because of the Freya. So even though it's good at the Zarya, if the enemy Freya is free, it's like a world of hurt.
It's super hard, and we realized that coming into the grand finals. So we're like, okay, we'll just play Zarya, mirror that, and like I said, you know, if it's a Tracer Freya mirror, we're super confident we can win that, no matter the tank.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, I kind of got lost in the timestamps. We have like 10 bullet points right here, so I kind of got lost where we're going next.
I think the next one is looking like says both teams mirror Zarya pressure, and then Seicoe is uncontested. Is this the one where you got bubbled in? You just like killed somebody?
I mean, this entire.
Yeah, this is. I wanted to highlight this actually because this is one of the moments where like you're playing Tracer and you're kind of like taking part in the front line, but it just like emphasizes how much emphasis you put on the enemy Zarya, and both teams kind of like do the same thing here, where both teams are just focusing the Zarya like giga hard, and you trade out, and it ends up going Qadsiah's way. But I just thought your point of view in this fight was like really interesting because of like how you target the enemy tank. So yeah, this weird swap of positioning ends up happening, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just right after this here.
Yeah, no, I mean, we got a little bit lucky, like 15 seconds into the game, like me and Quartz hit a super clean one-shot, you know, like 3-2-1. I just triple blink and we kill the Freya together, so we start the fight 5v4. And then afterwards, I mean, this fight we're just looking at now, I mean, you know, I'm behind the enemy first, pressuring the backline a little. And then I see that the Zarya has no bubbles, trying to touch the point while it's running away. So, I mean, I know he's fucked, you know, like I have to shoot him before he gets another bubble. So yeah, I mean, you just need to know which target is the highest priority.
Yeah.
And you can also relate that to like the sort of concept of the line. Like in that way, they kind of have a line, and the Zarya is basically bypassing it because she's trying to be on the cart.
Yeah.
And as the cart moves more and more forward, the deeper and deeper she gets into the enemy territory.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, oh, you just have to kill that guy. Like
this is why I also think their rotation is super bad, you know, because Zarya Ziad felt forced to touch the point instead of just playing slow behind the cart or something like that. So we were able to kill him pretty easily.
Yeah, they also kind of give up that natural cover that's like actually around the point that's on the defender's side.
Yeah.
So it's kind of free for you guys.
But yeah, this entire attack was basically just... I know I said there's basically no microplays in this comp, but me and Quartz were just 3-1ing onto the enemy Freya the entire time, and it was actually genuinely beautiful Overwatch from us. And also, we had good ult management as well.
Yeah, there was a beat here, or a lack of a beat that came up in a second that was really smart from Astra.
Yeah, oh, I think... Oh, they don't show my PV on the main broadcast.
I shit on them here.
Yeah.
No, show it.
It should just be your POV the whole entire
the
game.
fight after, because we killed their Freya late here, Quartz did. So I ended up going above them and scouting for the enemy Freya where he's going. and I saw he's going top right, so I called for Quartz, you know, Freya going top right, Freya going top right, and he's like, yeah, okay, I can shoot him, and then I triple blink onto him, Quartz hits one right click onto him, and he's just insta dead, and that's how we end up capping. So, yeah.
That's cool.
I think a really interesting point you bring up is like your job as Tracer, even though Reinforce was saying like, oh, the Zarya gets focused too much. Actually, as Tracer, you don't want to focus Zarya in this matchup a lot. You want to like set up and make their Freya really uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Like Tracer has such a good matchup into Freya that you want to force their Freya to like rotate away from you, and if she comes into you, then she like gets clipped and almost dies, you know? So both Tracers in this matchup should be like looking for the enemy Freya, while the tanks kind of like play passive and play for cart. So it's almost like the Tracer becomes like a main tank in a way where you're trying to take space away from the enemy team and make them rotate in a certain way, which is interesting in these like ground tank matchups.
Like putting the Freya into a bad position.
Yeah, my first thought process was always to go behind him. Like you can see right now on broadcast, just go behind him and, you know, maybe look for one shot with Quartz or just pressure the enemy Freya. And then, like Casores said, later on in the fight, you know, when bubbles are traded and all of that, maybe you can focus down the Zarya. So, yeah.
Yeah, this was the grab fight, yeah.
Yeah, Astro gets solo grabbed, doesn't use beat, and they still lose the fight, so the next fight is just a free win, because we have beat advantage. And in this matchup, if you fuck up an ult, it's over. So it's just Astro hard carrying this fight by not using beat.
Yeah, there's also, I had highlighted it later on Esperanca, where you guys actually almost like reverse sweep the map, like from a 130 lead, and just got really unlucky at the last fight. But just off of econ alone, you guys almost like reverse sweep the map.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of like wraps up this Junkertown here. By the way, I tried to look for your POV on Obsoldier, but it seems like Junkertown was the only map they didn't have replay codes of.
No, they did, but it's all good.
Oh, okay.
You're just you're not a real fan, Johnny.
No, I watched the VOD and they had...
Right there.
Oh
okay,
my god,
you
they
can
did
see,
actually.
I see the Freya, I ping him, I don't shoot a bullet, so he doesn't know I saw him. And then I call for Quartz, and it's just
that's clean.
over like that.
It was funny Astro's POV. Sorry. So many POVs. But, I don't know, can you use this VOD? Can you just go to the towards the end of the defense of Twisted Minds? Like, back. Because it was a hilarious example of team spawns. Where you prevent them 3-capping. Because, you get the grab in time, I'm pretty sure. Is this the fight? No, I might be getting this messed up. Is this where you get wiped? I think you get wiped here.
No, we get a good hazard ult and they die.
Okay, I'm lost in the sauce. I don't know actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure what fight you're talking about, to be honest.
It might have been a minute 30 earlier or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the last fight. But weren't they really close to capping? Like earlier on the round?
Yeah, they were. They got like three of them jumped into a grab. I think maybe at 3 minutes of their attack.
Yeah, it might be way earlier than this. Sorry, I beefed. Oh yeah, so it was earlier than here,
before, maybe.
Yeah, like right after.
So yeah, TVNT gets the grab in time. But if you go even earlier than this, Solomon, even earlier, we're still rewinding. Still rewinding to the fight before. So this is like a big old fight here as well. And I just thought this was a hilarious case of team spawns here, where they're gonna rotate around here. A lot of ultimates get traded, and ultimately they get really close to like 3-capping here. Which is obviously like huge, where you look at like where the map ended. You know, there could have been a case where like both teams got to every time, so like lots of ultimates are dropped here. A grab was dropped actually, and I think Funny, Astro, and Simple both join in, try to like Susu as much damage as possible. But you all get team spawn here. 4 people get like the sickest team spawn here, and so they actually don't get a lot of push whatsoever. You're able to like speed ring out, and you get back like really quickly here. And then Simple gets out like a great land for TVNT. He's able to get like 10% of the grab. And you actually make this hold. But if I was on like Qadsiah, I'd be like, I felt scammed. Like that team spawn just made me feel scammed. Because like we should have 3-capped on the back of that huge ultimate fight. But instead you make like a huge save here, keeping TVNT alive. And then you make this hold on the 3rd point. So I thought that was like a nice detail.
Yeah, it's true. We took that fight pretty poorly, the one before, to be honest. We took it way too close to our spawn. Like, they should have just capped, to be honest. Like, if anyone dies a little bit later, it's just over.
Yeah. All right, Ray, you want to move us on to...
yeah, sure. Let's go to Esper. Yeah, so I guess this was the one where you can kind of see the Kiri Wuyang versus the Lucio, and just like, can you walk us through like the thought process on like why you guys drafted this comp and
Yeah.
what value you see out of it? Because we discussed earlier, like this comp is slower. You can just shoot your gun way more, and get more value from that way. But you kind of like, in a way, you're not like playing necessarily for your Zarya's value because she doesn't like have speed to like
Yeah.
run around the map. So
Yeah. So I mean, we roll out on Kiri Wuyang because, you know, there's always that thought in the back of your mind. Maybe they roll out on Sim this map, you know, and so
or then you can
we
play
bet
Wuyang.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But Wuyang is just so good into Sim, right? So we always want to keep that in mind. But even if they don't play Sim, in our heads we thought if we ban Diva in a Zarya mirror, Wuyang Kiri might be better. We end up being wrong. I think Lucio Kiri is better on a map like this on Esperanca, and you'll see this later on because we legit get traded every single fight, and you're so slow
Yeah.
with our comp, and you have to walk back so far from spawn. So it's super hard to play Wuyang Kiri on like a push or a flashpoint. And they like you even see the KDs at the end of the map. I think we have like, I don't know, maybe twice or 3 times as good of KDs as they do, but they legit just win because they trade every fight, and we have to come back from spawn and can't set up angles and, you know, plays. So that's sort of how the matchup goes. We want to play long distance and take angles, while they just want to maybe run down our tank or catch a side with Lucio, or just trade as well. You know, that's what they have to do. They don't want to let us set up. But
yeah,
yeah,
the longer the fights take, then in theory it should be better for your comp.
exactly, yeah.
So, yeah.
But I mean,
like you said, it's really about ult fights too in these Zarya
Yes.
mirrors, and I think Lucio and Kirill,
yes.
it's just so much better. And if you have a Lucio, automatically your Kirill also becomes better.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
just kind of win the ult fights.
Yeah, I made
Like
a comment about this as well, that I feel like the ult cycling is like so nice for the Lucio comp.
It's so hard to counter Grav with no beat.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to counter beat as well when you don't have a Lucio, you know? This is why every time it's a Lucio mirror, you just beat second and you usually win. And if you don't have a beat for the enemy beat, the fight is basically over if you play it well. So Lucio's just broken on these types of points or map types.
Yeah, that's true.
So I actually wanted to rewind here to the start of this fight, the pre-fight setup of this fight, Solomon. If you can go back like 20 seconds here. So obviously they have control of the high ground here. You have to find a way to like kind of contest the bot here and try to get some space. So I'd just be curious, like both Seicoe and Casores, like how you would approach this fight, because you're trying to get back into it somehow. So like what is like kind of like going through your mind as you're approaching this fight here?
I can go first here. So me personally, I just want to touch the point. I don't want to give them extra meters without them having to use any ults. So my job basically here is to touch the point, while maybe my Kiri or my Freya gets to set up on an angle. And yeah, Tiven, obviously this is the problem when you're retaking on Zarya. You start on 0 energy. So Tiven has to play slow, you know, build up energy while we take angles. So it's super hard, but that's basically how it goes.
I think you want to start out with an ult and play strong and get to this cart, right? So because you're playing the K Wuyang, you kind of need to create so much pressure angles that they feel forced to use something. So I would want like my Wuyang tracer to either go main or top right, and then my Kiri like Freya play slow on the left and create so many angles that eventually they have to push, and then you counter that push with like a Kiri ult. So maybe you'd send like funny Astro Seicoe main. You look to like get one bubble and then instantly Wuyang ult, and then you match like I don't know their ult next with a Kiri ult. But like Seicoe said, this matchup is so hard, and you have to touch point. So the second they get beat, that is roll you over. I think maybe too many people got caught up on the left side of the map here.
Yeah.
I think
Agree.
you want to spread out way more. But even if you don't all go left here, it's still a tough fight to win.
Yeah, also,
Maybe Astro needs to help Seicoe here more.
I think in hindsight we could have, like, as soon as we see the Zarya on low ground, we just use Kitsu instantly, you know? That way, even it's so hard for them to kite an ult with Zarya, so even if they somehow get to kite our ult, we just get the space back, you know? And that's all our comp really wants. We just want the angles and the space.
It's a great game. We're gonna do that game in the future, Ray. Like, what happens here? Like, how should you play this fight? And just have the guest in this case,
That's literally
cast a
all. That's
Seicoe.
literally all I do in like when I'm botting my players. I'm just like, I was like,
Guess what
what
happens
should
next?
happen here? Like, what went wrong? Like, how should we fix this in the future?
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say because they end up TVNT ends up swapping Hazard here, so again, this is one of those things where like it's not working, therefore we should swap. Is that the sort of the thought process?
Yeah. I mean, the
Yeah.
day before, I believe we played the Hazard with Wuyang Kiri. It wasn't really working either, but I also think yeah they weren't playing Freya, so that's why also Tiven's like, okay, I'm going Haz.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Can you skip ahead to when they swap to Hazard? Because then a little bit after this as well is when like the reverse sweep is like beginning, like around this 2:30. I guess you can swap up to that. So eventually, at one point here on this map, you guys get like a pretty substantial ult bank onto the enemy team. I really liked how you guys ended up like playing through this. I think it's like right on this fight, they end up using a lot. Then you guys are able to sort of like put a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of the map. It's just kind of unfortunate, like Asher dies like 97 to his Wuyang ult. I think you guys could have actually probably finished the map, or not finished the map, like taken the lead from that
I mean,
fight
that's the
as
problem,
well.
right? Like, the Astor died 97 to Wuyang, but if you go back like maybe 10 seconds before in the last fight, like the very last fight, Checkmate hits a pulse onto Freya. So once again, he has to walk back from spawn. That takes another 20 seconds. We don't have Lucio. You know, it's so hard because you need that
The
Freya
trade
spam
is-
in main, you know, to shoot the
yeah.
Zarya to pressure early. But we just can't do that because we're missing him. So any trade they get is just way too powerful. And in retrospect, I don't think Wuyang Kiri beats the Zarya combo on these types of maps. On Escorts, I still think it does. But and that's why you see us on Esperanca on the final map. We just decide to take the Lucy Kiri mirror and just play better.
Yeah. Like if you, I think Kellogg's end up, like you guys end up going for like a fast play here to like force beat, and then from here you guys have like such an insane ult bank, like for the rest of the map. And you end up like not even committing Kitsu to a fight where I think Lubda like flanks with an OC the fight after this.
Ah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
This was super well played from Libda. I mean, this fight, by the way, is exactly what you need to do a comeback on this map.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
they use beat, we only used. We used Wuyang Pulse, but still, that's such a good trade, you know.
Pulse is whatever.
So
Yeah.
this is exactly what you need to make a comeback on Esperanza. So after this fight, I pressed tab and I'm like, okay, we're winning this map. But obviously, this next fight, Libda gets the flank onto the left side, and I think that's my fault. I should have marked it, but you can see I'm setting up on the right side of the map. But in retrospect, I should just mark the left side and let the, you know, Freya, Kiri, Wuyang shoot main. Should be enough pressure by themselves. So I just need to mark the left side
Yeah,
of the map.
that's true. At a minimum, you could get like the scouting here. Like,
Exactly.
even if you
We
can't
know-
fight them. Yeah.
Exactly. If we scout it, we just push main and his flank is useless, you know? So
This is also like I was trying to say as well, like it's really good like foresight to not try to clutch this. I think like even after like you can use the Freya ult, but it's like okay whatever. You're like okay then we're not going to invest in this fight because then our econ is just still going to be insane. We don't invest too much into this, and so then you guys actually get a pick here, like as they're trying to take the cart, and then you're able to sort of like hit them with the wallet, right, for like the next fight or so. And then it just kind of ends up being unfortunate. So I think you said it before, like the analysis was like they got like a trade. So then that trade was so far away. You said it was on Quartz, right?
no,
So
you'll see this
it's-
fight. I think
yeah.
they trade simple.
Oh, simple. Okay, yeah,
And then
that's
Quartz
really
after.
significant. Yeah.
Yeah. Like any trade they get, it's just so powerful, you know, because you're just so slow on this comp. Like look, we win this fight with Hazard Kitsu, but they use Kitsu and Grab, so it's a good trade, you
This
know.
is so good.
'Cause
Yeah. Exactly.
Our comp is better in the neutral, but their comp gets better when there's ults involved. So, but here you see the pulls from Checkmate onto Quartz. So we're missing Quartz and Simple now, and I mean we don't have enough
I
damage
see.
in main, so they just walk for free even though they have no ults. Zed gets the energy, and then it's over from there really.
Do you think this fight could have been clutchable if you had been able to like maybe like play first like slow taps on cart, like maybe if you let them push a little bit, and then you like back off and you chill, and then
Yeah.
maybe if Astra gets his ult, then maybe it's clutchable. Because they
For sure.
literally have nothing. Like maybe
Yeah, I
kill
mean,
Telex.
you're right. If we get this Wuyang ult off, it's for sure clutchable. But I mean, I'm also looking top right. You know, it's two fights after all. Even if we won this
Yeah,
fight
true.
with
Yeah,
Wuyang ult,
true.
they get a
Yeah.
beat fight after, and it's over. Like, there's no way we win that.
Oh no,
So-
you guys kill him before he gets it off.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. But it's
Alright.
just so rough.
You know.
It's so rough.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like these situations are like you just have to play it like mechanically, like perfectly. You know, like it's so
Yeah,
difficult
that's
when
true.
you're already in such a big disadvantage. It's so cool when you do, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
Alright.
the last one for or the second to last, I guess, is the Echo on Ike, right?
Oh,
And
boy.
so there's a question.
Look, you know, I thought it was funny how this kind of like played out here. So we go over into Eichenwalde, Tracer Kiriko are the bans, and Seicoe, I think you are attacking first, and so you have a
Yeah.
little bit of like swap-a-roo there, trying to find the right hero. But we end up playing these Freya Echo kind of like compositions, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming here. So just talk us through kind of like how did we land on these kind of compositions, considering like how Eichenwalde plays, right? Because obviously like the Tracer is gone, you're forced to make some kind of like hero adaptations. There's like a few alternatives, different heroes you probably could have picked. But because it's Eichenwalde, you land on Echo. So like you picked Far at one point before and then you swap Echo. So like what kind of like went through your head on this attack to make the compositional swaps needed?
I mean, it's funny, you know, when you look at the comps, like when I just press tab and I see the comps that are being played, I'm like, how the hell did we land here? You know, like
Yeah.
what are these comps? But you can see the comp we rolled out on, right? It was Pharaoh, Hazard, and Wuyang Brig. This is the counter to Sim. So since they banned Tracer, we thought they were gonna play Sim, which
Okay.
they ended up not playing for some reason. So, and then when I see their full comp, I'm like, okay, if they want to play this skill matchup, let's do it, you know. And then, okay, I go Echo, and you saw how that went, you know. I mean, me and Quartz just killing someone every fight. So, if they want to take the skill matchup, they should think twice, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, just projects like a lot of confidence, as you say, in like the mechanical matchup. So I think that's really interesting. Casores, if you were the attacking team here, would you guys? I mean, you have a tree, so you know you can do whatever you want. You have a tree 0 maybe, but like how would you have approached this? Like, what do you think about these compositions here?
We'd play main tanks. But
Yeah, that's true. That's true as well. Yeah.
if I'm Twisted Mind here, I'm really happy they're on Brig. You know, like
Yeah.
I feel like
That's true.
Brig is like an insurance for them because the enemy team, like Freya Echo, is really bad into Diva, so they're like, oh, we should go Brig just in case they Diva into that. But I'm like, you know, if Quartz is going off the whole game, then just play the slow comp matchup. It seems really reasonable to me. I think Kiri ban and Tracer ban actually make Freya like the best character in the game ever. Like those are like that's like the ideal ban scenario for Freya. So if you have the better Freya, this is like saying like, you know, we have the better Freya player. We're gonna make these bans happen, and we're gonna make our Freya like free. And if she hits the shots, then we're gonna win. And if she doesn't hit the shots, we're gonna lose. That's kind of how I see this whole matchup. Like Zarya is not gonna do anything to these Freya Echo matchups, so it's just like an Ana Freya Echo like fight off, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I know you wanted to get into like the advantages of, or the differences between Twisted Minds and Qadsiah in general, you know, like our stylistic matchups. So I think the advantage we have is our backline, the flexibility of our backline, like the fact that Astro can play Wuyang and Simple can play Ana. This just like makes us get a free map win every series, you know? We go to a hybrid and then we ban Kiri, and then we play like Ana Wuyang or Wuyang Ilauri or Wuyang Brig, you know, any of these matchups, and they can't really play anything. The day before, they tried to play Lucio Bap with Ram, I think, and they just got full capped and full held as well. So it's just super hard for them to win a Kiri ban when their best comp is Lucio Kiri.
That's
Okay.
actually really good insight.
Yeah.
How you guys view it? Yeah.
I don't think there's a ton to talk about on Icon because it becomes this skill matchup, and you know obviously we can
Yeah,
get
two pops
like,
off more.
yeah, we can get into the micro individual plays. Like I think in this next fight here, like you force the Zarya bubbles and Simple it's a sick nade, and then like you cap second point.
The
and then it's
actual
just-
for
You killed 4, okay? You killed 4, yeah.
So we can replay it. Like, he's like, let's replay it. Actually, I want to see.
Yeah, let's enjoy
Yeah.
POV here. Yeah.
no, but really I was so happy to just play Echo again, you know, because this hero hasn't been played all year, I think. So
Yeah.
I was just so surprised when they were on Echo themselves and not on Sim, because honestly, I'm not sure why they didn't play Sim here. Like, if there's ever a time where you want to play Sim if you're them, it would be on the Tracer ban, you know. But
Yeah, to me there was like a noticeable absence of Lucio here. Like that was like really prominent. Like I can understand because of how strong like Wuyang can definitely be on these like hybrid and escort maps. Especially
no,
like on attack. Like it felt really, really hard for at least Qadsiah to attack. Like I'm just like
Seicoe!
watching them.
there
Like
we
I
go.
felt like they couldn't walk ever.
I
Like
think they definitely like on defense starting like a Lucio Bap Sim cast comp would definitely be playable if you're not looking to take the Freya mirror. But
Yeah.
Freya just becomes so strong, right? That you almost need a diva, but then the Zarya is really good into the diva, so it becomes
Exactly. This is why the
Pretty
Kiri ban
tough.
is so good as well, by the way, because Diva is super hard with Lucio Bap. Because the Bap healing the Bap healing the Diva while she's like flying around in the air is super hard. You know, you don't just have aimbot like on Kiri. So Kiri ban is so good into these guys because Lucio Bap on hybrid is also just not good, you know, because there's high grounds and all of these rotations you have to make, and you just have a Bap that's stuck in the back. With Kiri, you can just TP and avoid these rotations, and this is why you don't see them play Lucio on a Kiri ban on a hybrid, because it's just impossible. And they tried it the day before, but it just doesn't work, you know? The only way you can make it work is if you play Sim, but even then it's super hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because for the sake of conversation, I did put it in my notes, and I wanted to ask like about the possibility of a Lucio app and like cast him, and like maybe you can like TP to like some high grounds and stuff like that. But I feel like it'd be so hard to like get any space whatsoever if that was the case, because on Icon, like you'd be stuck in like small rooms or like corridors, and the enemy team would have like a Freya Echo like above you, around you. Like you'd forfeit all position. And so like the likelihood that you would be able to like peek out with a cast or like try to put pressure onto these flyers is just like insanely difficult.
Yeah, there's so many difficult rotations you have to make, and with the BAP, like, you're so vulnerable, you know, to just anything really. And the Freya matchup into BAP is super good as well, because BAP has a big hitbox, so yeah, it's just so hard.
It's
I will say, I do think that if Galax played on Lucio here, it would have been a lot better even with Lucio Ana, because Brig into this comp is like,
yeah, I agree with that.
it's impossible
You're
to
just
do
you're just a
anything with
victim
Brig,
here.
and you don't even have a
Yeah.
beat, right? With Lucio, it's hard to do something, but at least you have beat.
I mean, I agree, but I mean, obviously, I think Wuyang is clearly the best pick here.
100%,
Like,
100%.
there's no doubt about it. And I mean, they realized on attack, right? They have to get off break and play Wuyang, but I mean, we're just better, you know, individually. And this is a micro or like individual play based comp, not really ults. So
I'm actively trying to make the case that pro teams are not always on the 100% most optimal comps. That there is actually some, you know, choice and preference, and there are like optionality. You know, like we had talked about Hanzo earlier, for example, that like Casores likes the Hanzo pick for reasons outlined. Some coaches think that Hanzo is not always the most optimal time. So I'm happy that we kind of have the conversation about like what are the different options when it comes to compositions, different options when it comes to heroes, right? And how it kind of plays out. So
I mean, you're right. I mean, you don't always play the most optimal comp, but you have to take into account like all the scrims before, you know, everything that happened. Because in their heads, you know, they just didn't think they could play Sim into us anymore. At least that's what I think. And that's what the scrim data says, and official data as well, you know? They just couldn't play Sim into us anymore, so they just gave up on it completely.
And you know what, Seicoe? That's why we have you on the podcast. Tell us.
It's like the behind the scenes insight, yeah.
Behind the scenes insight. The people want it. Yeah. All right. Suravasa. I don't think I have too much on this either. I put a couple of timestamps here from just like Tracer POV, because I think it showcases kind of like how these fights play out here. So we got the Seicoe rollout. I think what happens here is you put pressure onto Landon, and he like TPs into a Zarya and takes some like splash damage from a Zarya right click or something like that. It's like pretty silly. So I don't know if you can. There's nothing really to talk about here, but I'm curious if you can share like any insight on like how you approached Suravasa here in general, or
yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, like I just want to get behind them as soon as possible and pressure their Freya and Kiri, you know, to take some pressure off of my front line, my Zarya and Freya. So if I can do that, like in this fight, you know, force Suzu and even TP, it's just insane value. And I mean, we're just bound to win the fight off of that. Yeah. Wait. What was the other question?
No, there's no other question.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
we're just kind of watching this play out. I think for the rest of this first point here, they get into like a really tough ultimate scenario here because I think this is like a.
Yeah, I remember.
Actually, they might win this fight.
Yeah,
can't
I
exactly
remember.
recall.
Yeah, they shouldn't win this fight though because this comp is so snowbally, right? We have the energy advantage because we just won the first fight, and we also have ult advantage. If you look at our Kitsu, we had 80 Kitsu, they had 50. This is why winning first fight on Flashpoint in this comp is so important because you get the ult advantage and you get the energy advantage. So it's really should be impossible to lose second fight, but Checkmate hits a one clip onto the quartz, so I mean we end up losing that fight, unfortunately. But because of our Kitsu advantage, and I get the trade onto Kelix and Ziad, I take away his energy and we still have Kitsu advantage, so we win the next next fight for free. And yeah, they end up investing Kitsu as well, I think. We'll get there in a second.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's like the next fight here. Yeah, so you're right. So what ends up happening is like Landon drops the Kitsune Rush late, so they don't get any value from Kitsune Rush.
Exactly. We get Kitsu first, and I traded Z at the fight before, so he was 0 energy. So we use Kitsu first. I mean, you can see how like low on resources they already are. We got the entire point. And then Landon decides to invest Kiriko as well, which is like the real, like, okay, this point is over, you know, we won. Because we just won the fight, and they also invested Kitsu into it. So it's over, really. Because we have grab pulse one for next fight, and we have the energy advantage.
And I think they're forced to touch before Kelix built the beat.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's just a messy, like, it's just awful fight for Qadsiah. Like, it's so hard.
Something I think worth mentioning as well is what Casores mentioned earlier. Like, we're up 3-1 in the score, right? So in the comms, I was like, okay, even if we lose this map, we can go Jib next map and play Wuyang Kiri and protect support, and they can't win, you know? So this is why in this match, I said, okay, let's just take the Zarya lose to Kiri mirror here, and if we lose, you know, it's all good. We will win next map for free, but let's just play better on this map, and if we get dominated in this matchup, we just don't take it for the rest of the series, you know? Like, that's the luxury we have of being up 3-1 in the score.
Pretty sure that's also why they didn't ban like a Freya or a Zarya here. You know, they've been doing okay in that mirror on.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a mirror on Esper, but they've been doing okay in that matchup. They try to save a ban here because this is the easiest map to win going forward. You know, they have to like win 2 really hard maps because all the maps open up for teams.
Yeah.
So they're in such a good spot.
And if they want to win the series, this is the matchup they have to win, you know? So, yeah. If they can save a ban, they have to.
Yeah, I've received criticism in the past from like other players that have said like, oh, well, you were down in this series, like, why didn't you just like Thanos ban? But I think it's a little short-sighted. Like, yeah, obviously, if you do like the most impactful ban in that moment, like, you can keep yourself alive in the series, but you really want to, like, if possible, hold that ban for later. And if you can make an impactful ban, then do it at that time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things you have to take into account, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I didn't have any specific timestamps here, actually.
No, yeah, no, this fight is also really important. You see, we're close to Kitsu. We don't have Kitsu just yet, so they beat push before we get Kitsu, and Simple decides to invest the Kitsune, even though they already beat pushed, you know, and Tivin is super low. So this is, after we lost this fight, I'm like, ah, shit, you know? Like, this point is over. Because, like I said, this comp is so snowbally. You mess up one ult, and like, the point is over. But we just get super lucky in the fight after that. Me and Quartz find a one-shot onto the Freya again, so...
Do you think like looking for like clutch moments like is maybe like less viable in this mirror? Like, you know, like we're down 1, they killed, they used an ult, like I'm gonna invest Kitsu to see if like we can win. Do you think like that's
I think you should never clutch with ults, but when you're like down ults, you look for clutch plays, you know, like maybe one shot onto Lucio, like me and Quartz, you know, stuff like that. But you never want to clutch with an ult like Simple
like
did.
when you're even or up in ults,
yeah,
you're just
exactly.
like just hold it.
Yeah, like what Simple did, like it's almost map losing, you know.
I feel like especially support ults.
Yeah, especially.
Zarya, but in general, support ults are so strong.
Yeah, the worst one especially
I think
is
you can always clutch with.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
especially in mirror matchups, it's like mirror matchups are very snowbally and very ult based. If it's like Winston into Zarya, maybe you can clutch it with Kiri there. You know, like because the Winston can suddenly like become so strong and the bubble can zone people out. But I think in a mirror matchup, it's the most hard to clutch. Like, always in a mirror matchup is hard. It becomes such a macro game.
Yeah, we'll see in a second here, by the way. We invest beat into this fight. They don't. So we know that we have they have beat advantage. So you'll see us make a clutch play in a second, and we'll get into that when it comes.
How do you guys approach stuff like that? Like, you just play fast on the Lucio, or
Yeah,
something like that?
we said they have beat advantage. Okay, we need a miracle play before the point unlocks. So
Yeah.
I go behind them, and me and Quartz just look for a one shot together. That's usually what our miracle play looks like, you know. Me and
like that
Quartz
call
look to
out.
set up.
I like that
Yeah.
call out. We also call out. We always say we're down in olds. Let's look for something. You know?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
bit
on
similar.
Extinction we call that crazy play. Like, you have to make a crazy play.
Yeah, like right
before-
here. Like we knew we used beat, they have beat, so we say, okay, let's take a miracle play. The point unlocks in 20 seconds, so we still have time. And you'll see us just run them down and spawn before they even expect it. Like right now, wait.
Yeah, it's still good too if you do it before the point opens.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
then,
Like
if
right
they
now.
invest, it's just terrible for
They
them.
think they can just walk the point, but you see Kelix already 1 HP, then I one-clip the Kiri, but that's just because they don't expect the push at all, you know? And they don't even get to farm the beat. So
Yeah, it's really good.
just little things like this is what makes you win these matchups.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because you talked a lot about like how you think you have a mechanical advantage in this series, and obviously with that comes like the confidence as well to kind of like go for those kind of like plays as well, where you proactively push them like that. And I think the Suravasa is like clean in general. I think they go for a beat push that you're able to kind of like deflect. I don't think they get.
Yeah, I
Actually,
think-
they do
Yeah, they-
win it actually.
Yeah, they win it,
but
because
it's a bit
checkmate.
messy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but this fight is so rough now because like if you just then recycle back to your beat and you're like getting point percentage this entire time, like it just
Yeah.
feels terrible.
I mean it's a
But
good
it-
fight for them to win. To be honest,
Yeah.
they used to only beat pulls, maybe grab as well, but
Yeah, I think from this point when I was watching, I was like, oh, the map's over. Respectful.
yeah. I mean, we get a like next fight we win with grab pulls, right?
Exactly.
We
They
pulls
have no
their
beat.
their
and they have
Zarya.
beat for last. Yeah.
But they had to beat push last fight, you know, like that's the only way they
Mhm.
can win that. So
So for here, they need to go for a miracle from this perspective, but they don't. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
they
think
always
just
almost win it.
Going a point and AFKing, that's kind of like what we did on Rialto, you know? It's just
Yeah, you can see
it's
they're
kind
not
of
holding any
forfeiting the map
space.
because they're just gonna
Yeah.
beat push eventually.
Yeah.
I think you have to look for like something up close here if you're
With like a Kitsu or
if you're
something
Alcad.
like this.
Yeah, like maybe a surprise Kitsu or some angles that they have to walk into. At least don't stack on point and get grabbed. I think that's like what we did on Rialto, you know?
You legit let
it's-
them have the walk up for free, and then they can just press Q on point.
Yeah,
It's like,
you're just
okay.
hoping for your hit scan to hit a miracle then, but as a team you need to be working.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Always be moving. Always
Yeah,
be
keep it moving.
rotating somewhere. All right, you did it, Seicoe. You won.
Yep. We
And
did it.
Well,
Finally, we did it.
congratulations to both of you, by the way.
Yeah,
I know we said it at the
congratulations, yeah.
start, but
Finally,
especially
we
the
beat
golden
them.
stage for Liquid.
Finally,
It's really
what
fun.
a big relief.
I think our golden stage is you don't drop maps, right? I think
Yes.
we had like a
Oh, is it?
I didn't
Okay.
want to be
Golden
that
stage.
person, but
Oh,
yes.
I don't know why my teammates said I'll never say it wasn't a golden stage. We definitely had like a lot of drop maps and a lot of hiccups, but
Yeah.
we had a
You had a good stage.
lossless stage. We had a really good stage.
I had the draft up on my Twitter, and I was like, I'm not going to be that person. But the golden stage was because San Francisco Shock won stage 2, 28-19, with no maps dropped. I think they were like 24 and 0 or something.
I see. Okay.
And so they're like, that was the golden
That's
stage. But
crazy.
Well,
I
they
didn't want to
deserve
be the
the credit.
stickler. Yeah, so
They deserve the
Seicoe?
credit. They deserve the credit. If you don't lose a single series, the entire stage, it's still very impressive, you know?
Oh, I was
Still
gonna
okay.
ask this, Seicoe. Do you guys feel like you had an advantage because you went to losers bracket in EU?
Yeah, I think so. In my opinion, losers bracket is actually an advantage, just because you come with momentum, and usually if you lose the day before, you actually talk about, you know, okay, what went wrong, this went wrong, blah blah blah, and you actually prepare better for the grand finals. So I think, in my opinion, losers bracket is a little bit of an advantage, but obviously, I mean,
I think I really agree because last stage I kind of felt the same when we won against GK in that stage and they came back through losers bracket. It was a really close match that we like
yeah,
lost to them. They were able to like adjust a lot, but we just won, you know? So it's hard to adjust things, especially on the maps you won against them.
exactly.
And they get to go back and like change everything. And also on those final days, there's like nobody to scrim against. You have to like throw
Yeah.
together like a bad pug team. Of course, we appreciate all the players that helped us like pug, but it's not on the level of like an SSG or a GK, you know, where they have just played like a
High
match
level.
already and they have gone like full warm up, and you have to go into the match with like a mediocre warm up, you know? I feel like
Yeah.
it always feels pretty bad, but I don't have a solution, you know, for you already get first map pick, it's pretty good, but especially in your case where Twisted Minds and Qadsiah want to play the exact same thing and they both just want to go to Lijiang, I think, it becomes like I think Losers Bracket has a pretty big advantage, especially if you 3-0 smash it like you guys did. I think you guys got
Yeah.
against Peps and they didn't play
Yeah.
that well, and you guys played really good. And then you come in with a lot of confidence, like a good timed warm up. Maybe we were in like a little bit better situation because GK and SSG was like a dogfight, you know? It was like so close. So maybe they have like too much adrenaline. But I feel like you guys coming
Mm.
in with a full warm up in like a 0-0 grand finals where you get like the perfect length warm up, it's like
Yeah.
it becomes a pretty big advantage. And I felt that last stage against GK too, where they like when I think 3-1 up on us, and I think it was a lot in part because they came from losers bracket. They were able to change things, and they had a warm up.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also worth mentioning. I think if it was VP instead of Peps in the loser bracket, like things would look a lot different for us. You know, like that would be a way closer game than
Right.
whatever Peps did against or versus us. You know, because that was just a stomp. Like if VP was in the lower bracket and we knew, you know, if we lose upper bracket, we're gonna meet VP. That's like a little bit more scary, you know, because okay, they actually shoot back and it might be stressful, you know. But
Yeah, you guys kind of knew we just have to be ready for Outcat again.
yeah,
Where
exactly.
if you were against VP, you're like, oh, we need to beat VP first.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see that.
I have a couple of questions then, since we're kind of going that route. I guess with that question, sometimes I mention this on the broadcast, and I don't know if maybe players, current players and coaches feel like it's completely irrelevant. But sometimes I'll be like, does the effects of playing like a 5-map series and then going into a new series, is that draining at all? Like, does that affect the play? Like, how many maps in a row? At what point does your play start to like diminish in terms of quality because you've played so much and maybe like invested so much energy? Like, does that happen at all, or do you find that these days pretty consistently you can play like 10 maps in a row? No problem.
In my opinion, like in those situations, you don't really feel the fatigue or the exhaustion at all. I think if you have to play 3 series in a row, I think Crazy Raccoons did that, right? In Korea, they played 3 matches in a row. I think at that point I would feel the fatigue, like in the third, and they went to map 7, I think, in the last match as well. I think at that point I would feel the fatigue. But when you're like under the adrenaline and the pressure and all of that, you don't really get exhausted. You're just locked in and focused. You know, you don't really think about anything else.
I think it depends on the intensity of the series too.
Mm.
I remember last year at EWC, we went against Zeta in map 7. And that was like, you know, one of the most intense series we played up until that point. And then we had to go finals against Crazy Raccoon. We could definitely feel the exhaustion. But I think if it's a 3-0 or it's not that intense of a match, then you barely feel it, right? Like the players are playing what 8 to 10 hours
Yeah.
of ranked scrims a day. Like if it's not like an intense match, it in my experience doesn't really fatigue the players. But if it's really intense and it goes close and you go to that final map, final team fight, that is like what takes, you know, gas out of you later on.
Yeah.
Probably also the LAN environment is worth mentioning. Maybe that makes you a little bit more fatigued as well. Like all of that extra pressure and, you know, just stuff going on. I think that makes you a little bit more exhausted than if it's just like an online match.
Yeah. I remember, I think we had a post-match interview with, I think it was Funny Astro, after Twisted Minds beat Crazy Raccoon or at EWC or something like that. And Funny Astro walked like, I think this was Funny Astro, but he walked straight from the stage to the desk. And by the time we met him, this might have been Kellex actually from the Qadsiah series, but I can't remember. One of the two. And they were literally like they were drugged up because they were on such adrenaline and like energy that I was like, this is a guy who's like shaking my hand because he's like, holy shit, we fucking did it. And like, I could just be like, you're going to have a calm down after that. Because like you had so much adrenaline from that series. Like that was such an intense series, right? So like just biology, like you were going to feel super tired in like 2 hours because you built
Yep.
that was so intense for you, right? So I think that's kind of like undeniable. But these days, like you play online like 10 maps in a row, like I don't know if it gets nearly enough compared to sitting on a stadium on a stage and
But like
doing that.
even that adrenaline, even when you're on stage, it does so much for you. Like it's the same in like UFC fights, like when you're on the adrenaline, you don't really feel the pain, but then when it comes down or when it wears off, like they just start like walking like a cripple, because everything just hurts.
Yeah. No, yeah, I've been that. So when I saw that, I was just like, oh, I know what that feels like. You're you're about to come down real quick. But then it's hard because like all your adrenaline is like drained, and then you can't just like go back into it like an hour.
True.
Like you need to like rest up. But I don't think you have to play back to back in a way. So anyway, to that question, like, do you prefer singular limb brackets then? If you think losers bracket is an advantage, do you think singular limb is more fair?
No, I like double limb. I don't think there's like a solution because you don't really want to start like a team up 1-0 or something. I think that would take the fun out of it.
I agree.
Map pick probably isn't enough of an advantage, but I think I prefer double limb over single limb still. I think just one tournament a year, which is single limb, which is EWC, is enough for me. I like the loser bracket storylines, no matter if it's like, an advantage or not. And I think the higher the level of play, the less of an advantage it is. Because like Seicoe said, if we had to play VP, then maybe we don't get as much prep as we would now. But I think double limb makes for too many good storylines that I would replace it. But I don't have a solution for like a losers bracket advantage. But I don't think it's enough of an advantage where, the worst team will win, right? I think if it's a first to four,
I agree.
the series goes like long enough where both teams will be warmed up eventually.
I don't think you should change anything about it. Like I agree with you. If the upper bracket team started up one map, I think that would be absolute trash. I think it's good as it is right now.
But we determined that a long time ago. It doesn't work. No, it's terrible.
But also, I actually like singular limb. I think it adds for nice stories as well. Like us beating or knocking out crazy raccoons in EWC, like that's a crazy storyline, no? Like, in my opinion, it adds for more upsets and maybe it's better as a viewing experience. I'm not sure. At least I imagined it to be that way. Like if I was a viewer and I saw, Twisted Minds knock out crazy raccoons, like if I was a Saudi Arabian viewer, like that would be, it's just amazing, that's the dream. But if then, I don't know, crazy raccoons just do great from the losers bracket, it kind of diminishes that. But then again, that's also a nice storyline, that they, win it all again from the losers bracket.
I think both can have merit.
2022, with the shock we lost first round against Houston, right? And then we made it all the way back to the finals, and that was like we free out every team and we smashed Houston when we faced them again. I think being able to adjust and make adjustments, especially in like the penultimate tournament of a season, is really cool. So I like one or two tournaments of a single limb bracket, but I think double limb definitely has a place too still.
I think for the teams, double limb is nicer, but for the viewers, maybe single limb is nicer. That's how I view it.
I think League of Legends World is on that's on single lim, right? I think it's on right now.
Yeah.
They've been much criticized for that.
The bracket. But they also have an extensive group stage for Worlds. Like many teams from many regions fly out to all the single lim format.
You froze on my screen, Ray. So
yeah. Sorry, my internet is not great.
I think unfortunately it's on Solomon's end. I know we're kind of wrapping up here, and we're all lagged out a little bit here, but Seicoe, Cass, Ray, are you down to stick around for like 10 more minutes? Like a couple more questions?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So Ray, I think there's a sound barrier to talk about this week.
Oh, yes, the NATSUKI Sound Barrier. Yeah, I think we had to just talk about it since it happened on the weekend, and it was...
I think we had to.
It's so publicized.
One of the plays of all time.
Yeah.
Will be famous at this point.
Yeah, I think he posted a tweet about this, explaining video, from their team's perspective. And, like, that they thought that, if they can get the beat off with the both supports there, then Samba can come back. But then I think he did also like discuss like, maybe like looking at it in retrospect, it's like a Zarya with, I think it was both supports, or it was like Kiri was there
Yeah,
definitely.
full energy as well.
Yeah, he's like, oh, probably in retrospect, this is not super winnable. And also playing the micro, not that great. But yeah, the reason I also brought this up was because, yeah, thank you, you grabbed it. Was even in before, like when Seicoe was talking about like how Ulticon is like so important, right? Like in this situation here, like maybe even just trying to clutch this, like maybe if it was possible, if it was just like Chronic alive and not Hawk, like maybe it would have been. But then you run the risk of, if you lose this fight, you're like super fucked for like the next fight. So maybe the risk reward is not super great.
Yeah.
So.
I actually felt bad for him when I watched this live, and then when I saw his tweet as well, because whenever a play like this happens, it's just like you won't
You
forget
dogged
it.
on
You
so
won't
hard.
forget it.
Yeah.
You won't forget it. And like as soon as it
Yeah.
happens, I'm sure like his heart dropped as well, because it's just gonna be everywhere. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things. In my opinion, there's no justifying it. I can understand why he did it. Because they only got 30 meters on third, so if they were to lose second point, it's probably over anyway. But it's just objectively a bad play. You just gotta say my bad and move on. But I can understand why he did it.
Yeah, I get it too. I would always tell my players that I would always rather them try, but maybe in scrims you can like limit test it a little bit. But it's always better to try to win, as opposed to just like fall over and die.
I'm sure in comms it was like super hectic, like, yeah, we can win. People maybe think like, as a viewer, nothing's going on, and then all of a sudden this guy's flying into the screen beating,
Yeah,
people
true.
maybe think in the comms there's nothing going on, but they're probably screaming on top of their lungs, like,
exactly.
oh, we can win, but you just can't, But sometimes in the game it gets a bit hectic, so you shouldn't be too hard on the poor guy.
No, I love NATSUKI.
But it is a bad play.
Throughout this like playoffs, I was actually really impressed by Sakura because they played like a higher tempo play than like a lot of other teams, and they made a lot of crazy plays, and they played like they weren't afraid to lose. I think here they were just so tunnel vision on we can't win another fight, and probably they can't. So I'm a NATSUKI apologist. I don't think this is a good play, but with the way they were playing the whole tournament with their super high tempo and playmaking, like crazy Zamba plays and Zeb playing like out of his mind, it must have been like really hectic going into this. And actually, if he gets the beat off, maybe they get the grab out. Like if you don't do anything and you just reset and then you just lose the fight to like beat grab next fight, it's terrible. Just maybe he could have beat her on the court and then walked on.
Yeah, it's true.
At least then they might have been able to get the grab out or like played it out, but
yeah, I actually think that's a really good point. Like if there's the possibility that they can get like a match there, then maybe it's worth.
Yeah. And
maybe if Hawk has the foresight, he doesn't grab there.
I think them not doing anything would have been well, not worse than this, but it would have been worse than
potentially really bad.
Not doing anything. I think throughout this whole playoffs, Sakura like they made a lot of plays and they weren't afraid of anything, and I think this like culminates in that where SSG was playing really solidly and Sakura was still making a lot of plays and making like hero plays overall. I think they should be proud of themselves, and they had a really good playoffs, and I think this will be memed for eternity. But I think NATSUKI and the entirety of Sakura, like when they played against us in the regular season, they didn't make any plays and they were just sitting there and taking it. So seeing them in the playoffs and making all these plays and making crazy rotations, they actually did really good in my opinion. But this clip will be, memed for eternity. So I
think for viewers, like you guys need to remember that like very literally, like Sakura would not have been there without NATSUKI. I think he was getting a lot of criticism that was like about, he should retire or something like this. Like they literally wouldn't have been there without him. Like he's very integral
in my heart. Yeah. He's Dutch. I'm 20. He's 27. He's an old man like me, and he's still playing.
No, it's true. I can respect it a lot. And the
I
way he
think-
handled it. Not
yeah,
bad.
I mean, feels terrible when you open the Twitter app to
Yeah.
everything that
You just gotta
happened.
ignore
But
all the.
I think
reacting.
most people, maybe not Twitch chat, but like most people are able to recognize, like separate the play from the player. You know, like I don't think anyone in this screenshot, anyone here on the podcast, obviously, like I don't think anyone just like holds this against Natsuki the player. Like we can all be like Sakura, you know, amazing run from them, and how much impact Natsuki had on that. But we can still be like, hey, that was pretty bad sound barrier.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we
Everyone-
we can all do that.
Everyone makes bad plays at some point in their careers, you know, but you just gotta own up to it, say, okay, my bad, and then just move on, you know. I mean, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake, I had the worst play maybe in history in my first AOL game on the first map.
Yeah, we all have those. I'm still
Yeah.
10 years, or like whatever it is, 9 years later, I'm still thinking about times I let the Reinhardt shield down. Like, you know,
Just gotta
Like,
embrace it.
I lost my team some fights. You know, I still think about it in crucial tournaments. So yeah, sucks for Natsuki, but it was objectively fucking hilarious. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back and watch that. I think we're going to forego talking about GK and Peps. I think because we're running out of time, and we'll talk about that at a later episode maybe. But I did want to ask you, Seicoe and Casores here, and Ray. I don't know why I didn't include you in that.
I mean, I didn't win, so I get it.
I consider you, Ray, like a co-host for this episode,
Yeah.
and Casores and Seicoe are the guests. So that's, I guess, why I'm
Yeah.
trying to tee them up more. So I just, viewers at home, don't read into it. But I wanted to ask you about the Koreans because Falcons, they lost, and they get so fucking emo, and they go to their Discord, and they're just like, on the way home after like, you know, a couple of bottles of soju, Korean barbecue, like they just type in their Discord, and they're just sad boys. And I think it was Proper and Chiyo this time. And Proper, he had like a sentence or two in his Discord where he was like, after every time I lose like this, I'll quote it specifically. These days, every time I lose a match, uncharacteristically, my first thought is, I want to run away. This time too, the first thought that I had was, should I just quit? It's so hard to accept a defeat, and this time I had really cut down on sleep to keep practicing, but the result ended up like this, so it's really tough. And I guess I just want to be like this mindset is kind of fucked. And I just wanted to get your opinion on like literally some of the best players in the world having this mindset after losing a match. Obviously, to some extent, you need this mindset of hating losing to motivate you to keep practicing and getting better. But at some point, it almost becomes like too much, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this mindset is what like all the great people of all time, you know, in sports, they're like
course, yeah.
something's off in their brain, you know, it's not completely right. This is why they get to that level, you know, in the first place. But I'm not sure if he actually means it or if he's just saying it, you know, because it's legit every single time. It's almost like a copy paste of what he writes. So I'm not sure if he actually means it or not. But maybe Casores has more insight because I think you were with him in a team, right? At some point.
I coach Proper for the
you had
all of
probably more
2022
insight.
season. I think he gets really high, like high highs and really low lows. I think he means it. I think
Okay.
from having spoken to him, I think he just really cares about winning, right? And the reaction to losing, I don't think it's right, but like Seicoe said, if you throw your entire heart into it, it's different. And I think in Korea it's also like a different culture where fans are a lot closer to players in Korea. They do like a fan meeting after every match because they're all on LAN, and fans give a lot of gifts to players as well. And they also have only a limited time to play because of military service. So they take like their time and their interaction with fans and what the fans think of them like a lot more serious than I think Western players do, because there's the inherent disconnect. We're not on land so much, and it's a different culture. So them posting out to their fans, it's like, sorry, I failed you, you know, and failing you made me think of this. And maybe they like overspeak, or like Seicoe said, like, you know, it's like that. I don't think it's necessarily performative at all, but I do think, you know, they maybe should post to their Discord before they have that bottle of soju, or 5 of them, or 10 of them,
Or the next
and
day.
then, and then post.
Yeah.
I'm not even making claims here. I think it literally started. I went drinking, and now I'm writing this in the taxi on the way home. So I'm not even making that stuff up. Like they went drinking, but yeah, I just thought about this and like wondered like from your perspective, like is this so it's like good that they care so much, or does it become like detrimental at some point because it's overwhelming?
I mean, because they care so much, they get these results, right? And it's not just in Overwatch, in different esports too. So it's
Yeah.
I think
it's maybe not good for their work-life balance, but it's
I mean, there has to be a limit to it, right? But I think in general, just caring so much about losing or winning is just objectively a good thing. I mean, obviously there's limits to it, but I mean, even me sitting here, obviously, I absolutely hate losing. You know, like there's nothing that bothers me more than losing. But you just have to, you know, be able to realize that maybe the day after, like the entire day where I lose, I'll just feel like trash, you know. But then you wake up the next day and you'll realize, okay, no, nobody actually cares that much, you know, and it's just another day. And whether you win or lose, the next day you'll have to scrim and work anyway, you know. So you just gotta be able to realize that
Yeah,
that
I would always
results
make
don't
these.
define you.
I always make this analogy to my players because I work in a lab, and so a lot of like science is troubleshooting. So you end up spending like I would say like 80% of your time making mistakes and things don't work. But the only bad times that happens is like if you didn't learn anything from it, like oh I used XYZ conditions, maybe I shouldn't do that next time, whatever. So like you can really apply a lot of that to competition as well, right? Like if you fail and you're falling so low that you just give up and you don't learn anything from it, then that's when it's bad.
True.
But if you fail and you're like, okay, what did I fuck up? What can I fix for the next time? Also, maybe why losers bracket is such a big advantage,
Yeah.
right? Right? Like you're like, okay, now I feel really motivated because I can look at exactly what I did wrong and I can fix it. While the winners are out there celebrating their win or whatever, you know, like I'm grinding. So then like every failure that you have will hopefully lead to your like eventual success.
Exactly. If you lose an upper bracket and then you don't learn from your mistakes, it's not an advantage at all. It's a disadvantage, you know. But you gotta turn it into an advantage. But what I like to do usually, if you know you have a big loss, let's say we would have lost to Qadsiah in grand finals, you go outside the next day and you look at all these people. They don't know. They don't know that you play Rose. They don't know that you lost. No one
They don't
actually.
care.
No one actually cares. You know. Like
Yeah.
maybe they care the same day, but no one actually cares.
Yeah. Good summary. Well, I don't know who Anonymous Crow is in our Google document, but they suggested we'd run through the World Finals bracket. So why don't we just take one look at the World Finals bracket as well, see where you guys placed. Team Liquid, you'll be facing either Varol or Falcons. We'll eagerly wait to see your opponent in that one. And Twisted Minds either T1 or Team CC. So, Casores, how do you feel about the bracket?
I'm so happy I don't have to play Crazy Raccoons again. You know, we didn't face Falcons. Like I didn't face, and Vega and RuPaul didn't face Falcons once yet. We haven't played them once. We've played Crazy Raccoons, I think 6 or 7 times. I don't know the exact count. Maybe viewers at home will know. But we've played them so many times, and we haven't played Falcons once. So we're happy we get to face Falcons this time. Or Vero.
You think you're gonna win that matchup? You got it?
I think we have a pretty good matchup into them. I think
Yeah.
at least
Yes, I
Into
from the
Falcons?
scrims we had in Korea, I think we have a pretty good matchup.
Okay, well, one thing worth mentioning is Falcons is always worse than scrims, but you probably know
That's
that.
true. That's true. That's true.
Like they always just turn up at lands, and like when the stakes are the highest, they
feel the
always
stake
just turn up.
theory. Yeah.
I think so. So is Crazy Raccoons, but at least there's a loser bracket, so it's not the highest stakes yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If it's
That's
an
true.
elimination game, that's when they'll
That's
actually show
true.
up, right? What about for Twisted? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty happy with T1. I mean, I'd rather face T1 than Falcons or Crazy Raccoons. Obviously, we already met them in EWC and we beat them pretty convincingly, 3-1. But I mean, you can never underestimate these Koreans, you know? Like, I'd like to sit here and claim that we're 100% going to beat them, but you can never count them out. They're so good. But I think one thing that's interesting about this bracket actually is if we lose to T1 and Qadsiah lose to GK, then we'll meet in round 1 of losers. So one of us, if that happens, then somehow we will meet Qadsiah again, like every tournament so far, which is just unbelievable to me. So that we somehow always find a way to meet these guys. So
Yeah, I don't know what the optimal bracket theory is.
yeah, but
If that could have been avoided, but
nah, I mean, probably not. But to be honest, I think that scenario is unlikely anyway. What do you think?
You think GK will win
Casores?
that one?
You think Qadsiah or GK will win?
Ooh, I think if it was like stage 1 or 2, I think GK would win. If it's like Ramacho or Hazard meta, I think they have like a real chance. But I think outside of like Ramacho and Hazard, if those don't magically come back into the meta, I think Qadsiah should have it. They're a more flexible team with more diverse strategies, I think.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah. Good luck, Qadsiah there. All right. Any additional thoughts on the bracket? Is Weibo Gaming a fraud? Can they play the game? I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say
actually-
I want to see the grudge match between Landon.
Actually, there's one
Yeah.
thing I want to mention because everyone was saying like, oh, maybe Qadsiah's sandbagging grand finals because they want to be second seed, you know. But in my opinion, second seed is almost. I think first seed is better, if not the same, you know, because people think GK is a free win, but it's not a free win, you know. It's also first to 2. No one knows what can happen in a first to 2 series. Like we lost to Sign in a first 2 series in EWC, and then we went on to beat Crazy Raccoons later, you know. So being in the first to 2 game, it's never a free win. So, and even Weibo Gaming, they're not a free win. You know, I know Landon said that they don't know how to play Overwatch, but they do know how to play Overwatch, and they're still a good team. You know, especially with the right meta. So
He spiced it up.
They
a little.
do know how to play dive.
yeah,
That Qadsiah
they
guy's
do.
pretty good at Winston. So
I mean,
just-
even in EWC with their worst meta, they took Falcons to map 5, right? So I mean, you can never count them out. But that match is what I'm looking forward to. I want to see Landon against Weibo.
Yeah, no, me too. That'll be so fun.
I've seen a couple posts on Reddit and in general, and it's always like the Weibo guy streaming and having like Landon needs to die
Yes.
in the title or something, you know,
Yeah.
like something super dramatic, and all the
about
Chinese fans
motivation.
are mad. So if I see any motivation, it's Landon just made an entire country mad.
Yeah.
He's made the entirety of China mad.
But I
They're
mean,
waking
these-
up
how
every
that
day
goes.
with like post-its on their wall, like have to grind to beat Landon. Like,
You know
These are the
how it's-
storylines we need. So I respect Landon a lot for that.
That's true. That's true. You know how it's like
Yeah.
the do it for him meme with
yeah,
the Simpsons.
exactly.
It's like do it to kill him for Weibo, and there's just pictures of Landon across their room.
yeah. it's fun.
Yeah, has some good motivation. I hope Weibo turns up because you can always count on them for some good series. They're always
Sure.
bangers. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, I think that kind of wraps it up. So again, thank you, Ray, for co-hosting with me and
Thank you for
organizing
inviting
and,
me. It was a pleasure.
yeah, and putting on this episode. It was a lot of fun. And thank you so much, Casores and Seicoe, for joining us and breaking down the games.
Thanks for having us.
For having me.
All right, that's it. Plat Chat episode 281 is over. Thank you so much for producing, and we'll see you next time.